Hey everybody, it's Louis Amestoy here on HS Game Time Live. Good for you to be here with us on week number 3. It's been a very exciting night, a very interesting night, that's for sure. Dave Zink is here with us, right there, Dave. How are you doing, man? That good, huh?
I'm doing great, Louis. How are you? Sorry, trying to play catch up.
There's Jeff Perenni as well with his easy button over there, and Adam Drexler around somewhere in our kind of messy desk back there. I didn't clean up very well here earlier on. But let's get right to the scores here. A lot to get to right now. We have one big final score already. 34-7, the win for North as they moved to 3-0 on the season. They beat Kaiser pretty easily. Kind of an interesting comparison. I don't know how much North played all of their guys. Hopefully we'll have some video of that game later tonight. But North winning big, 34-7. Now remember, Cajon won that beat Kaiser last week convincingly, 52-7. So sort of an interesting comparison game about how good Cajon is, and we'll keep an eye on that. Pep Fernandez at the Rancho Verde Heritage game. Rancho Verde leading 35-21 in that matchup. That's an interesting one to see as we move forward into the night, because Rancho Verde ranked number 1 in the Central Division, and I believe Heritage ranked number 2 in the Eastern Division. Now, their league rivals, Elsinore, was beating Temecula Valley. What was the score on that one, Dave?
Elsinore was up 14-7 last I heard.
Right.
Actually, I take it back. The end of the third quarter, it's 30-7 Elsinore.
30-7 Elsinore.
20-7 Elsinore.
20-7 Elsinore. So Elsinore beating their rivals, Temecula Valley, right now. Indio playing at San Jacinto, 14-13 right now into the third quarter. A couple other scores I just want to get to that I know that I've got. 28-24, Yucaipa leading San G in what has been a very, very tight game, kind of one of those another comparison games, because Rev played San G 35-0 last week and won that one convincingly, but now Yucaipa and San G tight. That game was pretty close. We have Jeff Perenni now here to cut in.
Hey, happy week 3.
Yeah, happy week 3 for sure.
Hey, back and forth in Lake Elsinore with Murrieta Valley and Temescal. It's now Murrieta Valley 24-14 in the fourth quarter. Jack Magpauso for the Nighthawks has 3 touchdowns in that game.
Good pronunciation.
That game was pretty tight early on. It was like 14-7 I think at halftime, according to Angel Ortiz. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Upland is absolutely demolishing Norco in a game. It has major implications in the Inland Division. It was the number 3 ranked Upland Highlanders at Norco, ranked 6 in the division, 41-21 here late in the game. We'll have highlights from that one. Chris Erickley was there for us here on HS Game Time Live. He'll bring back some of the highlights. Chaparral and Centennial, that game has been sort of fun to watch. So suddenly Centennial has been fairly close, 21-14. Do you got a score there, Dave? What do you got for an update?
Yes, I do. I got San Jacinto is now leading 21-13. I believe that's against Indio.
Right, Indio 6:49 left to go in that game. Tell him to leave and come back.
Yes, sir.
All right. Citrus Hill was struggling early on against Riverside Poly. Adam Drexler working to get his highlights up for you to watch. Citrus Hill 17-6 in the fourth quarter. Real quick, 14 third quarter points for Citrus Hill. Davian Payne with a 73-yard touchdown run in that one to put Citrus Hill ahead over Riverside Poly. Poly was playing well in that game defensively.
It was a little scary at halftime. Actually, Poly was leading at halftime 6-3 and had held Davian Payne and his team down, obviously, to very few yards and very few points. And, Citrus Hill has pretty much run over a lot of people, and it took them a while to get going against Poly. I guess it just lends itself to that Poly's got a pretty stout defense this year, and they're able to actually hold some teams.
Well, that's a good test, too, because that's a team that we've been very impressed with on film the last couple of weeks. We've seen them play. I mean, they've just been crazy.
And Citrus Hill has a full complement of offensive weapons. I mean, they've got 2 good receivers, Davian Payne, and a quality quarterback. So you would think that they would have an easier time with Poly. Poly doesn't seem to put up a lot of offense, but they definitely hold you on defense.
Right. Paris was leading him at 24-14, a game that I was at earlier. The highlights for that early action are already in the player. You can watch those. We'll talk about those in a little bit. I've got some thoughts on that one. That game was absolutely brutal to watch. 2 teams that were turning the ball over frequently. But Paris looks pretty good. Their only issue, I think, might be some depth issues as they go into the Sun Belt League. Hemet's got a lot of unanswered questions. I think, Dave, at one point, they must have had 16 incomplete passes from the quarterback. I mean, it was not pretty to look at. Rancho Christian, an interesting story developing there. 20-0 over Hamilton at halftime. I like to keep an eye on that score. La Quinta, which has played an impossibly difficult schedule, including losing to Mission Viejo last week. They are leading Arlington right now 8-6. We mentioned Rancho Verde is leading 35-21 in Heritage in a great matchup, and we'll have more scores for you as they come in. Well, welcome you to week number 3, actually week number 4 for us here at HS Game Time Live. We'll have the rest of the crew in as we come through. We'll turn things over to Pep Fernandez, the real pro of the night, along with Chris Erickley. And don't forget the late night show later in the evening. They'll be here, Chris Erickley and what's the kid's name again? William C.
That's
Holden.
Will C. Holden.
Will C. Holden will be here at the late night show. Don't forget to follow us on HS Game Time Live. That's on Facebook. Just type in HS Game Time Live, and you'll find us on Facebook. It's kind of interesting. Last week, we discovered that North has a football fan page, and all of a sudden they blew up HS Game Time Live's Facebook page. We had 20 people become friends or fans of the show, and they really added in things. So if you'd like to become a fan, go ahead. Yes, Dave.
2 Facebook notes. First of all, if you go to that fan page, you'll get to see a tremendous picture of our leader here, Louis Amistoy, with some fantastic hair out at a cross country meet. I think it was a Big 8 that you were out at yesterday.
The Big 8 tilt.
And it just absolutely blew your hair up.
That's right.
And then the other thing about that is, after we found out about North, Pep being the he's always wanting to go after, all the information he can get. He went out, he found Great Oak's Facebook page. He's found all these different Facebook pages to all these different programs. So it's a good way to follow the program. I was looking at the Great Oak one, and it's really pretty cool. They'll put galleries that are in, I forget which one of the online photo databases that they use, but they use one of them, and they put all their pictures up in there, and there's somebody who's taking pictures from the games. You can look at most games, 40 or 60 pictures. They've got where they're going to tailgate. When they were going to play in Ranch Cucamonga against Los Osos, I think it was, they had a place where they were going to tailgate before that game, so it's pretty cool to see that. So if you're a fan of Great Oak or North or whatever, it's a good place to get information about the program. Thanks
to our friend David Bradvica over at Notre Dame, I found out that Notre Dame has a photographer that follows them, and they had a 285 picture photo gallery on their site, or it was a Smug Mug site, but it was kind of cool to see all the photos.
Speaking of Notre Dame, I don't know if Erkley was pulling my leg, but it seemed that Xavier Prep was beating Notre Dame 14-0.
Really? That's shocking. They're 0-3.
Well, either Erkley's pulling my leg or it's the truth.
Chris is a known liar.
Wow, did you just do that?
I just did that.
Wow.
So.
I'll have to get him to defend himself when he gets back.
Hey, do you have that list up of all the, I think it's called Week 3 in the playlist, add a playlist to the DDR. I want to talk about the games we're going to shoot in video. We're shooting in video tonight. I actually have some of those games that we can talk to you about. But I'm going to go through update my score list here. Also, don't forget we have a there we are. But don't forget that we have a HS Game Time app. Unfortunately, the video is not working right now. We're trying to fix that feed, so the video will be back in there. Okay, here's the games that we're shooting. You can find on demand as well. Upland at Norco, Rancho Verde at Heritage, Chaparral at Centennial, Poly at Citrus Hill, Temecula Valley at Elsinore, Yucaipa at San G, Murrieta Valley at Temescal Canyon, and Indio at San Jacinto. The interesting thing about this note here is that all those games, really the only ones that we Upland at Norco is the only blowout this week. Last week we had several big blowouts, and we were telling the guys, come back.
Well, it was kind of interesting too, because I got a text from one of our videographers saying that the San Gregonio Yucaipa game was being delayed because Yucaipa showed up to the game late.
Yeah, I saw that. How is that possible? How is it possible to be late for a football game?
And I think
do they even go to school on Fridays?
I think Jeff Prenny had the best take on it. What did you say, Jeff?
Give them 15 and send them home. That's what they do. The Raiders give them 15 and send them home.
How are you late?
Thank you, Jeff.
I mean, I realize there might be some issues there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know if the bus broke down or what have you. We'll have to find out. But the game probably started 30 minutes late. I think they're barely into the third quarter.
Yeah, that's an interesting game. That's one I was looking forward to seeing. Kind of what happened with that game.
What do you got, Jeff?
If you remember last year, the state bowl game, Centennial they weren't late for the game, but in terms of when you want to show up for a state bowl game, they certainly were late. They got caught in traffic, and there was nasty rain that day, and it definitely translated onto the field the way they played.
I think we got caught in that traffic too,
Yeah.
Lewis, didn't we?
But yeah, I think we we got caught in the fact we didn't have credentials.
Well, we also got caught in the fact that
They felt sorry for us because we had about 400 pounds worth of gear.
I was going to say we were
raining.
walking through a deluge of rain with all kinds of gear.
That's something I wanted to look up now. I've totally lost track. Let's go back to that list there of games. Oh, by the way, we'll also have Hemet, and we'll have probably North video as well. Oh, here comes Jeff Peretti.
Kevin Pearson reports Rancho Verde 35, Heritage 21. Final.
35-21. So a good win for Rancho Verde on the road. That
was close early.
Yeah, that was a tight one. So they have a ridiculous streak now of regular season victories. I think it's like 33 now regular season wins. Snapping Heritage, a little streak they had of about 12 games, I think it is. So a big win on the road. I think that's the first meeting between those two teams.
So, Lewis, do you think that's how do you measure that win? Is that more important for Heritage, even though it's a loss, because they played well? I mean, they played well against a really high-level team, and to this point this season, I mean, they've been playing high-level teams.
Well,
or, I mean, Rancho Verde being able to handle an up-and-comer.
I think those divisions are basically a push. The Eastern Division where Heritage is at, that's the one Elsinore is ranked number one, and the Central Division are basically a push. So, I think that that's a good result for Heritage. I think they could have beaten Rancho Verde, but it's a good win for Rancho Verde, because Rancho Verde, hasn't always had to play, some tough people, and their league at times has been very, very weak. So that's a good game for both teams, I think, as they go into league play. I don't think the result is necessarily bad for either one.
No, you never want to get a loss, but
yeah.
If you're able to run 35-21 is not a bad score in a game against a team like Rancho Verde.
Right. All right, Murrieta Valley 17-14 now, fourth quarter. Dawson Lindemann 5-yard touchdown run brings Temescal Canyon within a field goal. And their best player right now, his name escapes me. Their running back, is not playing.
No, and he's got like a hamstring injury that they said they're not going to play him until they get him in the league.
I don't blame him. That's a bad injury, and that's it's one I pulled a hammy. Well, I pulled a hammy, as you know, Dave, could last for a long, long time.
And that's and you can re-injure that easier than pretty much any other injury.
All right, Redlands East Valley leading Dorsey 14-6, third quarter. Austin DeCoud tossed a 9-yard touchdown pass to Jesse Riley as Rev continues to move on. Compton now leading Roosevelt 20-14. Boy, Roosevelt just really is just wiped out from injuries. I was over there at that cross-country meeting, and I saw some Roosevelt people, and they were just saying, it's just really tough because they have so much talent there, but they're so beat up that they're gonna probably, if they finish this one, they're gonna be 0-3. And the strange thing about this story is that Don Markham was the coach at Compton like a week ago, and now he's no longer the coach, and they're beating Roosevelt. So Compton leading 20-14. This is according to Twitter. All right, Patriot leading Vista Del Lago 14-7. That was a halftime score. John Evangelista had a 26-yard touchdown run in that one and a 30-yard pass. And so we'll keep an eye there. 21-14 was the halftime score for Centennial and Chaparral. Matt Marin came up with the last score in the half by taking a quarterback keeper for 18 yards for Chaparral. So a little life from Chaparral when we kind of like wrote them off for dead. In fact, we were looking at that game, we're like, let's go to Upland Norco. Well, that turned out to be a real bad mistake because Upland absolutely destroyed Norco.
I didn't expect that at all.
Right. And let me bring this up, too, because now with the emergence of North, right, in Upland in that baseline league, the baseline league's got Cucamonga and Upland, and then you've also got, the Sierra League out there, and Charter Oaks beating Roosevelt, and Chino Hills beating Santiago. That division feels a little bit more like less, Southwestern League and the Big Eight than it has before. I mean, obviously, we're talking about Big Eight teams, but I feel like there could be another contender there that we had. Chino Hills was the semifinals a year ago.
And Upland's so kind of an enigma of a team. Sometimes they come out and play really well, and then, the other times you see them get into a game and they just get beat up. I don't know, but tonight, obviously, they showed up.
Well, I mean, Upland is a team, they're one school town. They're one of the few left, and they should be strong every year.
Yeah.
So... we mentioned Citrus Hill leading 17-6. Davian Payne, a 73-yard touchdown run to kind of separate there from a very stingy Poly defense. I mean, I think a lot of us thought that Poly was going to absolutely handle them. Citrus Hill's good. They'll just hit you in the mouth.
So will Poly.
Well, obviously that's clear. Clear. Did you give Jeff Wirtz a little hard time about the sideline dance after the big win against Arlington last week?
A little bit.
A little bit. Tease him a little bit.
I got a kick out of it. You watching that? You can just see 4 years of not doing very well, and then you get some moments there where your team puts everything together and does what they're supposed to do and win the game. You could see. I mean, that's like unabashed glee. I mean,
right.
It's just there's absolutely that is so pure right there. It was really nice to see. Just because I know the guy and I know how much he pours into football and how hard it's been for them the last few years. But they put some games together. They still got losses on their record, but
right.
I think they can be proud of the start to their season. But are you gonna bring up the how much you hate Pauley's campus and how dirty it is, and you're not gonna bring up all those things, Lewis?
It's just filthy.
What's so filthy? You keep saying that.
I'm just telling you, it just doesn't feel taken care of. Now I know they're doing some construction there.
Which one?
The parking lot's very nice.
Lots.
But it just feels neglected, and there's so much gum on the ground there that I'm not sure where to step. In fact, we were having a funny conversation about that the other day, or maybe we could do like a little video about who spit gum here, like Reggie Miller. Oh, this is where Reggie Miller spit gum.
Yeah, you got like 85 on it, and it's look at that, it's Mark Green's gum,
Green, right? Sippy Woodhead's gum.
But okay, just
Bobby Bond's gum.
Just a guess.
Right.
How many pieces of gum do you think are smashed on the concrete inside the quad at Pauley High School? There's got to be
1,500 pieces.
There's got to be thousands of pieces of gum.
And it's not just Pauley. It means every school in the area. It's disgusting.
Yeah, but there it almost looks like it's part of the architecture.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been beat into the concrete.
Right. I always thought it was a bird maybe spitting it out, but I don't know.
Looks like the hood of my truck.
Yeah, you folks in the chat room, be patient with us. We're still getting scores in. It's still early. It's like, what time is it? 9:30? We barely came on tonight.
Yeah.
We're like sitting here arguing with each other as usual, like a couple of women. And
wait a minute, you were yelling at me. I wasn't arguing with you.
Well, because the Paris roster was wrong.
And it's all of a sudden it's my fault.
Of course it is.
Who's the one who just ran out and did a game
while
I was here slaving over the cameras?
It's always your fault. I've been here since 9:30 this morning. All right, let's show you the rest of that list here and get rid of that lower third. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook. All right, here it is. Here's the list.
What list?
I'll go back to the video list, the video games. All right, now skip to the next one.
To the next one?
Yeah, there's one more slide, right?
No, there was a slide. No?
Yeah, there you go.
That's games of note.
I don't want to show that. That's games. That's next week. That's week 4 games. Go to the rankings.
Okay, so I'm going to start. Well, I'm going to start with our top 10.
All right, here's the HS Game Time top 10. So we know Rev is winning right now. Vista Murrieta is playing at Los Osos, so we don't have a score on that yet. Norco is getting pummeled by Upland. They'll fall out. Centennial. Do you like that ranking at 4?
No.
They're holding on against Chaparral. So Chaparral has a little life in it. I like that. I like that storyline. I like Chaparral to be stingy. Rancho Verde wins big. Cajon wins big. Now Cajon, they beat Kaiser last week 52-7. North beats Kaiser 34-7. So that's kind of.
So do you switch North and Norco?
No.
North to 3 or Norco to 8?
I'm not sure that Cajon's not the best team.
I agree. I think they're the most underrated team in the area.
I think they're scary. I think they're really scary. And it's like you just don't know with I've said this before. If you get everybody, we've talked about this before. If you get a San Bernardino team with everybody eligible, get the athletes to stay at the school, they could have some scary teams, and we've seen that in the past. So, Pacific. We were talking about Eric Paul Johnson and I were talking about this the other day about Canyon Springs. Like, who was the team that they, who do they beat in that first championship game? Like 1989. Oh, San Bernardino, because San Bernardino had 4 guys who could run, 100 meters in 10.7, and they also won the state track meet that year in the 4x100 meter relay. So the kind of athletes, we know those athletes are out there. So Cajon, to their credit, could be the team that could be very, very scary. Now, how they do in the Central Division, I don't know.
How they do when grades come out, that's always the.
They'll
scary.
be fine. I think they'll be fine. I think Cajon's a very good high school, and
I didn't say they're not.
Right, but I think they'll be fine.
A lot of teams struggle with that.
Absolutely. I don't discredit that. All right, so the rest of the Elsinore winning tonight. North has won. Heritage loses, but I don't think they should fall out of the top 10 though.
I might switch with Summit because Summit did handle
Colton 35-0.
35-0. Yeah. So I mean that being what it is, I would give it to them.
It doesn't. It just doesn't surprise me because Colton. Well, the story of Colton right now is just they're an absolute train wreck. And Matt Shaman now texting me right now. 41-21 Ukaipa.
3.5 to go.
3.5 to go, and I'm going to text him to leave that game. So get back to the video.
So going from that, now the Inland Division, what do you think of that?
I think that's accurate. Obviously, I think you could argue that Rev should be a little higher, but I think Centennial being the division champions, I think that they have a lot. They've played a very difficult schedule now. They're going to go into Big 8 League play next week against Poly on a Thursday night game, so that's fair. Vista Murrieta, clearly fair. Now, if they lose to Los Osos tonight, that's another story.
People always gripe about the CIF not getting the polls very right, but I'd say in the case of this poll, they got it right. Look, they have Upland there at 3, Norco at 6.
Right.
And, some people would have said, oh, Norco needs to be higher, but it looks like that one played out pretty well.
All right. Yeah, I think Upland is clearly, they're kind of a sleeping giant in that division.
Yeah, and there's a lot more from the west end of San Bernardino in that poll than there have been in past years,
Right, absolutely.
Damien, Charter Oak, Cucamonga, Upland, Chino Hills. I mean, you've got 4 or 5 teams in there that are in there. But okay, so there's the Inland Division. Now we got the Central Division.
Rancho Verde clearly number 1. Kent Cajon to me number 2. I mean, that's a solid 1, 2, 3. It gets interesting. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Colony is there. La Sierra, Rialto, Valley View. Valley View playing a league game tonight against Canyon Springs. Arlington losing at La Quinta right now. Chino, historically has always been very good. Carter playing a game against Lakeside, which has given people fits the last 3 weeks, but hasn't found a way to win. I mean, that's a game. If Lakeside should win that's a one that's going to be, going to knock down Carter quite a ways.
So you think Arlington falls out of that poll?
I don't think so. I mean, they're playing La Quinta, who's played the gods basically over the last few weeks. So,
and then going from there, we have now the Eastern.
To me, this is the most entertaining division out there because I don't know. I like these schools a lot. The Elsinore Summit game last year was a lot of fun to watch. Heritage, of course, is very, very good. I mean, Summit and Heritage are going to trade spots in that poll, obviously. Citrus Hill probably will be third. I don't know how far Heritage is going to fall on that. Kaiser will fall out of the top 10. Serrano, Apple Valley, Oak Hills, and Burroughs, who is playing. Somebody's playing Burroughs tonight. I can't remember who it is.
Should Kaiser have been in that top 10?
I don't think so. Not that high, obviously. After losing to Cajon last week that bad. Temescal Canyon is 10th. And Temescal Canyon will be an interesting team to watch as we move forward through the season. Now, Paloma Valley was crushing Cathedral City, and I think they're sort of a sleeper in there.
41-6 Paloma.
Yeah, 41-6, I'm sure. It was like 35-0 at the half. Let's go to Jeff Prinny, see if he has any updates.
You got anything,
really
Jeff?
all I have right now. Well, Marietta Valley, the last I heard was 27-21. Dawson Lindemann, his third TD, brought Temescal back with 3 minutes to go, but Marietta Valley had the ball and up by 6.
And there you have it, Lewis.
And there we have it. I'm going to look for some scores real quick from the...
So there's back to the Eastern, and we've got... keep looking for scores, so I'll finish.
I just love Elsinore. Elsinore is such a good story. That's a very entertaining division. Don't forget that Serrano probably was more competitive tonight than Norco when they played Upland last week. They lost 37-27 at home, which is not an easy place to play for any team going to Phelan. And that, from what I understand, it was a lot of turnovers in that game. So La Quinta is now leading Arlington 15-6. San Jacinto 27-13 over Indio. Palm Desert has crushed Hesperia 49-33. That's not what I want. I want to go back. Corona is absolutely being demolished by Palm Springs, 48-3.
As predicted.
Coachella Valley at Desert Mirage, 7-6. Desert Mirage leading that one. 21-21. Harupa Hills and Desert Hot Springs. And what score am I? I'm missing the Xavier Prep score.
Yeah, we probably have to go to the Desert.
That's where I'm at right now.
They don't have it, huh?
They don't have it.
Well, I mean, it's Xavier Prep and some little-known high school from Riverside. So,
well, did they play each other last year?
I don't think so.
When was the last time? That's probably historic. First time the two parochial schools in Riverside County played each other.
It's very
here at
possible.
HSGT Game Time Live, we have all the facts and figures for you. All right, it's 9:30 here on HSGT Game Time Live. We'll be back with a break after these few messages, and we'll hopefully have some of the footage from the What was that game? Hemet Paris debacle.
Yes.
That I was at. It was just really, really ugly, and I was like, anyway, we'll go back to this in a minute. We'll be back with more on HS Game Time Live. We are your breaking news leader. News happens. Stay up to date with expanded coverage in the Press Enterprise delivered to your home. Follow the story throughout the day on PE.com. Receive news updates in your inbox or on your mobile device. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS.
All right, guys, we got to be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're going to run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm going to run around in circles, flatten my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up.
To play 60!
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Do you enjoy watching HS Game Time live on Friday nights? If you do, then you'll love HSGT's Roundup. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, myself and Chris Ercole will bring you all the high school sports action from volleyball to boys water polo, even girls tennis. You name it, we'll have it every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night at hsgametime.pe.com.
What are your thoughts on Amestoy and Zinc hosting that thing?
I think they're great. I love how they play off of each other and how they have a good time. So, but it kind of reminds me of the Channel 5 morning news. You know how they, at least a couple of years ago, they used to kind of screw around in there and have some fun. It just makes it fun to watch. You're lighthearted, and then plus you're getting the information you need.
We cover the issues you care about. Here at the Press Enterprise and PE.com, local news matters whether you live along Route 66 or on Main Street. We provide regional analysis and in-depth investigation of issues like education, transportation, the environment, and much more. Important matters are covered here. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS. On week 3, lots of scores to get to. One that's just updated right now, Rubidoux leading View Park 35-28 in a game that's been kind of exciting. View Park out of Los Angeles. This is the third quarter score right now, and Daniel Young has scored on a 10-yard run as they extended the lead out to 35-21, and then Garen Edwards ran for, then View Park answered with a touchdown run. And then, so it's been a tight one here all night long. It was tied at one point before Young ran for a 10-yard run to give Rubidoux the lead, 35-28. Rancho Verde has defeated Heritage 35-21. Ryko Green finishes with 3 touchdowns as Rancho Verde wins this one. This is a big one, as we talked about going in and kind of all night long how this game was sort of a bellwether for how these two teams were going to meet. This is the first time they've met. Really a big game for Heritage and a big game for Rancho Verde. Just a real note, Heritage running back Jamal Morrow had 118 yards. Tony Hefo had 2 touchdowns for the Patriots. But we understood there was a few players that might have been missing the defense for disciplinary reasons for Heritage. But it sounds like they were pretty close. So I think it's probably not a bad result for Heritage. Bloomington Christian, an 8-man football, 43-6 win over West Shores. That's a good win. Kyle Melton, 46 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns in the win. Paloma Valley, 41-6. I know that in this first half they had pick sixes for touchdowns. There you go.
We have a final.
All right.
Patriot 14, Vista Del Lago 13.
Ooh, nice tight.
Patriot led 14-7. Vista scored with 8:34 left in the fourth quarter, missed the PAT, but then had an 11-play drive at the end of the game and faced a 4th and 3 with 1:23 to go and came up 5 inches short.
Wow.
And we have a final 2 from the Elsinore game. Elsinore 26-7 final.
So that's an impressive win for Elsinore. We
Yeah.
thought that Temecula Valley. Well, it was funny because actually Wilsey Holden, who has been known to be wrong before, really said Temecula Valley's got a lot of problems right now. You thought that this was going to be a game that Elsinore is going to control easily, and that's a good win for Elsinore against one of their old rivals, Temecula Valley.
I don't know if that's going out on a limb, though. I mean, Elsinore's, reigning division champ, and, Temecula's a, middle of the road program.
Yeah.
Did I just beat them up too much?
How can you say that?
And we got another update.
Oh, my goodness.
Roosevelt holds off Compton 28-20.
28-20.
Uh-oh.
Wow. So that's a good win for Roseville getting their first win, and they really had to work hard to do it because Compton had them down at one point. So 28-20, the finals starting to come in.
And they keep coming.
Yeah, here goes another one from Jeff.
It's score time. Murrieta Valley holds off Temescal, winning on the road 27-21.
Good win. 27-21. 27-21, the win for Murrieta Valley.
And we've got a Yucaipa 42-31 final.
That was a shootout. That was a great shootout. I think that pretty much just determines that the best team in the league is Yes, we did. Thank you. I think that pretty much determines that the Rev is the team to beat in the CBL. They crushed Sanji 35-0, and then you kind of got into a little bit of a tracking with them. Although you never know how those teams match up. It might be a different matchup situation.
Things didn't start off so great for Yucaipa. They showed up late to the game, so they probably took them a few minutes to get themselves focused. I don't know, except for a bus breaking down probably.
28-14 Centennial now in the third quarter. Hayden Gavitt winning the battle of quarterbacks right now. He tossed a 20-yard touchdown pass to Guy Williams. Is it Giles Guy Williams or Giles Guy Williams? Don't we have this conversation?
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. Can't we just call him Williams?
Romello Goodman had 63 yards in the first half. That Williams kid, yes. Is there any games that shock you so far?
No. Nothing shocks me anymore. It's all just another, I mean, there's some really interesting results. I have to say that La Quinta taking it to I didn't expect Arlington to go out to La Quinta and not be able to play any offense. I mean, they haven't put up any points. I think La Quinta's only got 15 points and they're leading. So, other than that, no, I think everything's gone pretty much the way.
What was the score again on Murrieta Valley? 27-21?
27-21.
All right, 27-21. The win there. That was a good win for. I think Murrieta Valley's they're 2-1 now because they lost. They lost by 1 to Escondido. Remember that.
Well, and I'm glad to see that. I was just looking. Oh, the result you went to, the Hemet Paris game. I was not really surprised, but I was hoping Hemet might actually be able to pull out a win. So I don't know.
Well, they have beaten Paris 9 consecutive times or 8 consecutive times going into that game, and if Hemet wins that game, I mean that's showing some grit in the second half because that team showed nothing in the first half. They turned the ball over. They got called at one point. They were defensively they're pretty stout. They were able to hold Paris, who had a big run or a big return, and we'll show that here in the video. And then they got called for 2 offsides plays on a chip shot field goal. Right, put the ball on the 1. Okay, this is the level of game that we had here early on. So then Paris gets called for a false start, backs them up. They bring their running game, or backs them up. So they bring the field goal unit back in, kick a field goal. But it was like it took probably 10 minutes to sort out all the penalties in 3 different plays. So the game was really dragging.
How the mighty have fallen, Lewis.
Hemet has not been good for years, Dave. I don't know what you've been. Neither has been Paris. These aren't the good old days.
Doesn't stop you from covering them.
Well, I got to go. I did not see the Bulldogs at all last year, and for good reason because they were awful. But I pretty much see them every year, and I was really. I don't know that I've been to Paris. I knew they had a new facility, but it's beautiful.
Lewis, an update. Notre Dame 28-14. They came back against Xavier Prep.
Wow,
so I guess the Riverside County Parochial School title does go to
the Titans.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame taking out Xavier. What is Xavier Prep's?
I think they're 0-3.
What's their mascot?
Saints.
Oh, they're the Saints.
Right. What's your status?
They're not a good team.
Well, we know that because you went to school there, right?
No, I didn't.
Your team's winning big, by the way. Yeah, 48-3. Put Palm Springs in the Big 8. That's what they used to do to teams. Oh, you're successful. You can go into the CBL. Remember those days, Dave?
Yeah.
Palm Springs. We were talking about the other
Congratulations.
day. Congratulations. You beat our team. You're going to go into the Big 8 now. Well, you have to drive 40 miles or 100 miles? That's no problem.
He didn't stay long enough for me to give him heck about their whole, the Corona quarterback that they all fell in love with before the season because he had such things to say about
well, he hasn't played, though.
Norco. Huh?
He hasn't played, though.
Oh, he hasn't? Why has he not
played?
I
think he's been injured.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some people give me scores, and I can't write them down. I can't figure out this score sheet. That's ridiculous.
What score sheet?
The one that I have in front of me. Is I'm trying to map out stuff. What was the final score in San Gene Ukaipa again? 42?
31.
42-31, Ukaipa beating San G. The other final scores, Roseville has beaten Compton 28-20. 34-7 win for North at Kaiser. 28-14, Chaparral leading Centennial. 41-21. Upland was crushing Norco. Tell Erkley to come back in here for a minute. I'm going to yell at him for a second. I'll have Chris come in and give us a quick hit update on that. We mentioned Rancho Verde beating Heritage 35-21. Vista Del Lago was driving at the end of the game and could not convert on a 4th and 3. They lose to Patriot 14-13. We're looking for scores all over the place. A lot of stuff to track. And let's bring in Chris Erkley now to tell us about what happened to Norco tonight, Chris.
Well, it was 14.
Wait.
Oh, there we go. Here we are. It was 14-14 about midway or maybe early in the second quarter. Upland came out 7-0 on a nice long-distance pass. Then a kickoff return by Norco followed exactly by a kickoff return by Upland. That put it 14-14. And after that, 21-14 Upland. And then you thought Norco was going to fire right back and it was going to be a shootout, 21-14. But Mr. Gearhart fumbled the ball and it would kind of unravel from there. Just a couple costly turnovers, and the secondary from Norco is pretty depleted. EPJ told me they're missing 2 of their DBs, and they weren't really strong in the secondary in the first place, so the 30 to 40-yard passes were kind of killing them there in the second and third quarters and kind of got out of hand. You thought that maybe Coach Gearhart would be able to fire up the troops coming into the third quarter, but you could see in their eyes that they had already kind of thrown in the towel there at halftime.
Right. Hey, Chris, Dave Zink here. So tell me, what were your thoughts about Upland? I mean, Upland looked like a pretty the score says Upland's a pretty good team. What was your assessment of Upland?
Yeah, I'd say
final score now, 54-27, Upland beating Norco.
Yeah. When I determined, and I'm sure many of us here picked Norco to win that game, but they definitely have a balanced attack. I mean, their defense, they were putting some pretty huge hits on everybody on Norco. I mean, Gearhart took one hit that if he didn't have that huge body, he may have had to leave the game. They were hitting hard. I mean, they had a good balance between the run and the pass. That's one thing about Norco is Gearhart, I mean, he was either keeping the ball or handing it off probably a good 80% of the time. Tried to throw a few deep balls to a couple receivers. Some of them were off, 10 yards in front of the receiver. A couple of the passes that he had, though, were right at their chest and just went straight through their hands. Unacceptable in a game like this, especially at home. So they need to balance out the attack. I know with a sophomore QB, usually passing is not going to be your strong point, especially with a guy like Gearhart. That's not really his style to be a pocket passer. But they need to definitely polish things up if they're going to be able to give Centennial a run for their money here in a couple weeks.
All right, well, that's Chris Erkley. We're going to get rid of him now and make him go shoot, get his video up.
Go edit the video so people can see it.
That's right.
There was plenty of offense. So you're not going to see a lot of defense in that game.
Exciting. You never get bored by Norco footage. That's for sure. They get beat and it's spectacular. Okay, a couple other scores I've got right now from the High Desert. Apple Valley and Victor Valley in the Battle of the Bell, 51-6. Apple Valley has won that game. Sultana beating Pacific 42-0, continuing Pacific's woes there. I think Sultana might be undefeated now, surprisingly, because they've been terrible too. Quartz Hill beating Barstow 55-0. Oak Hills beating Little Rock 44-0. Highland over Serrano. Serrano falls to, they've lost 2 games now in a row. So they may fall out of the CIF rankings, even though I think they're a very good team playing a tough schedule. They lose 27-22. That's 2 close losses for them. Again, reiterating a final score now as Palm Springs has absolutely demolished Corona. 48-3. Palm Springs solidifying their number. What's that? What are they ranked in the Eastern Division? They're ranked 2nd or 3rd. They'll be ranked 2nd, I think, when it comes out because Heritage is lost. So, I mean, Palm Springs is a solid team to contend with in that division. Are they in the Central Division? Central Division, right? There it is. They are ranked 3rd in the Central Division. So, actually, they won't see any movement because Cajon has a bye this week. So, Rancho Verde will stay 1. Cajon will be 2. Palm Springs will be 3. But Palm Springs, a very impressive body of work, easily dispatching teams from up here. I'll have to look at their schedule, but they've beaten Palm Desert. Because they play Palm Desert twice for some reason. They've beaten Moreno Valley. They've beaten Palm Springs. Oh, they've beaten Corona. Then they have to go to 29 Palms next week. A game they probably shouldn't play considering their enrollment size. But 29 Palms, I'm sure, will give them a game, and I'm sure that's a place that they want to play in late September either.
Well, it's kind of interesting because the Central's kind of morphing into like the Inland Division of past years because the Inland Division, the top 4 or 5 spots are pretty much set, and then you have everyone scrambling for the bottom 5 spots to be in the top 10, and the Central seems to be working itself into that progression right there. You got Rancho Verde, Cajon, and Palm Springs, pretty solid 1, 2, and 3. I don't see anybody below them that can actually take over anything there. I mean, Carter, Chino, good teams. Arlington's probably going to drop. Valley View, I don't know. Are they off this week?
They're playing Canyon Springs.
Oh, they're playing Canyon Springs. So Valley View will likely get a win this week. Mm-hmm. And then, the other teams. So I kind of, it's an interesting
last year
division.
Last playing at Tahakowitz, so we'll have to see that one. Okay, final scores. Redlands East Valley has beaten Dorsey 14-12. Austin Decoud, 2 touchdown passes in that win over Dorsey. Again, 27-21 the final for Murrieta Valley in a tight game at Temescal Canyon. We'll have video of that game from Angel Ortiz. All the games that we've covered with video, except for that Norco game, have been really, really exciting.
For the last 2 weeks, we've had pretty good success with getting to the games that you're going to get good highlights
Vista Murrieta winning 30-14 over Los Osos. Big win there. Sua Cravens had 2 scores for Vista Murrieta, rushing for a touchdown from 65 yards out and receiving one for 24 yards out, and then Dylan Bernard had a 46-yard interception return for a touchdown to lead Vista Murrieta. Elsinore defeated Temecula Valley 26-7. Alan Stubbs rushed for 145 yards, 2 scores on the ground as Elsinore beats Temecula Valley. We have some clips in that already. It's already in the player. You just look down and you can get into it. We have Hemet up and we have Elsinore up as well. Etowanda has crushed Miller, so finally Etowanda gets a win after 2 tough losses, one to Vista Murrieta, one to Norco. So a tremendous win for Etowanda, 47-12. Centennial Chaparral was in the third quarter, 28-14. Centennial leading. Hayden Gavitt doing the damage there for the Huskies as they look for another win. Paloma Valley raced out to about a 35-0 lead early on and cruised on the way, and 41-6 the final score there. 2 interceptions for touchdowns. 8-man scores. Bloomington Christian on the road, I believe, at West Shores, winning 43-6. Okay, we talked about Rancho Verde. They win big tonight, 35-21 over Heritage. Rico Green, I think his name. I'm sorry, Rico. I think it's Rico, right? You think it's Rico?
Get it right.
I'm sorry.
It's Rico.
Rico Green finishes with 3 touchdowns as Rancho Verde beats Heritage. A good win for Rancho Verde on the road. Not a long road trip over to Romoland or Menifee from Moreno Valley. Rubidoux, View Park, 35-28 here already. All right, when Drexler is ready, Yeah, let's look at games. Let's just take real quick next week games. These are games next week in week number 4 on the season. Let's take a look at these games here. Centennial at Poly on Thursday night. So Poly loses tonight. Centennial winning right now. That's the Big 8 opens up play next week, and so does the Inland Valley League too, and so does the San Andreas League. We'll get to that one here. So these are some of your games you want to see next week in week 4. The game that stands out in my mind, I kind of was, obviously Norco Roosevelt's going to be a really good one, probably a video from that one. And go to the next.
What do the icons mean, Lewis?
Well, the icon means that we'll have video from that game for sure. And then the You Pick 'em one is our You Pick 'em contest where you can pick your favorite teams to win. I see that all of us did pick Norco this week, by the way, in the contest.
It's a wash.
Who did you pick, Dave? You picked Norco?
Yeah. What, do you think I went against it?
How are you and I in last place?
Incompetence, general incompetence. It's amazing that people listen to us. I don't know. Actually, it's pretty funny. A story from this morning. I went to go get my hair cut,
right.
And my regular barber, Tom, over at Arcade Barbershop in the Brockton Arcade. I go in there, and before I even got into the chair, he said, "Boy, you're not good at picking high school games, are you?" And he gave me a little bit of trouble about it and asked me why I could not get the scores right. And I said that basically, what the heck do I know?
Right. What do you know? What do we know? What do I know?
Well, I mean, if we get, once in a while we get it right.
Yeah, sometimes we do get it right. I had a pretty good week 2 weeks ago. Somehow Will Holden's like second in that contest. And the real contest, the online contest, because no one reads the paper.
It's a long season.
Yeah, it is. It's true.
The good thing about the contest in the paper is they don't have all our picks, so I'm actually closer to the front in that one than I am trailing in the other in the overall one. Are you pick 'em?
Hey, last night Murrieta Mesa played Citrus Valley, by the way, and beat them 37-17. We got highlights from that. Do you have that available by the chance?
Highlights of what?
Murrieta Mesa and Citrus Valley.
I can in just 1 second. Let me get that up for you.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about Murrieta Mesa. They played Thursday night. They are now 3-0, but the party for Murrieta Mesa will get more complicated when they have to play Summit. I think next weekend. So that's going to be a game to keep an eye on. Murrieta Mesa though looking pretty good. We'll have Pep Fernandez was at the game last night. We'll have some of those results up for you. Going through some of those scores here. 35-34. Rubidoux has now beaten View Park. Good win for them. 2-point conversion try stopped by Rubidoux with 40 seconds left to hold off View Park. So I'm not sure if they're from LA or not. Okay, Notre Dame beating Xavier Prep 28-14. They held Xavier Prep scoreless in the second half. 49 yards of offense after halftime. So pretty good night for them. Upland has crushed Norco 54-27. That might be shocking. That might be the most shocking result of the night so far. Rev has beaten Dorsey 14-12. Murrieta Valley has beaten Temescal Canyon 27-21. Vista Murrieta wins over Los Osos 30-14. Elsinore beating Temecula Valley 26-7. Etowanda wins 47-12 over Miller. Paloma Valley a big winner. 8-man football, we got that one. Rancho Verde, we got that one. North has beaten Kaiser 34-7. Touchdown pass from Justin Georgie in the fourth quarter and route to a 34-7 win over Kaiser. So we don't have any idea really how much effort they put in this game for North. We'll keep you updated. We do know that Roosevelt has beaten Compton 28-20 after trailing 20-14 in the third quarter. Patriot has beaten Vista Del Lago 14-13. Vista Del Lago missed a PAT, then couldn't convert on the long drive to keep the drive alive, so they lose that one. Paris and Hemos 24-17 at the half. Looking for a final score of that one. Rancho Christian 20-0 over Hamilton, and here we go. Okay, all right, here we go. Here's the Murrieta Mesa footage from the night, and all right, here we are. It was actually in the player. All right, first quarterback Rams quarterback Chase Chambers puts up his pass, and there's Khalil Sharp on the other end. He's down at the goal line, sets up a touchdown. 7-step Murrieta Mesa. All right, so later in the first quarter, Citrus Valley hands the ball there. There's the Citrus Valley, or the Murrieta Mesa cheerleaders. Very nice. Very nice. Good job there, ladies. They haven't much reason to celebrate until this season, really. So there they are. All right, so Citrus Valley now handing the ball off to Andrew Gonzalez, who rips off a 43-yard run. And right at Pep, by the way. Impressive. All right, same drive as Jason Snow with a touchdown plunge, making it 7-7 tied game here.
I think that was a let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
We're nowhere near as good as Pep in these things. Second quarter now, Meriden Mesa with the ball. Chambers rolling out, finds Davian Knights for the score. Actually, I'm sorry. This is a fumble. I don't know. My stuff's totally off now. My sheet's totally gone. I don't know what this is. Citrus Valley rolling out, doing something. Intercepted. You know what this is? This is the extended hit clips. The actual package is in the TriCaster. Yeah, here's the touchdown. Thank you very much for that one. Yeah. Yeah, I have a script here. I'm not sure even what I'm looking at. I'm seeing kids rummaging around.
Line, please. Line, please.
In the ear. You're supposed to help me out, Dave.
Keep trying to give you. I gave you that touchdown.
Well, the scripted part was actually in the system there. All right, so this is the quarterback. He's going to be in trouble by. Ouch. They look very good. Meriden Mesa looks pretty good. Of course, they haven't played the most challenging schedule in the world.
Everybody seems to like Citrus Valley's uniforms, but I tend to like the Rams uniforms.
I do too.
They
looked really slick last week against the.
But I do like those
Tacos.
too. Those are different. Good. You know, uniforms tend to get pretty homogenous.
Right.
Everybody has kind of the same uniform, and those are two semi-different ones there.
All right, we can take it. We can take this down.
Oh, you're done with that?
Yeah.
There you go.
4.5 minutes long. Oh, we got
the highlights from
Citrus Valley and
just 1 second. We'll get this going. The interesting
Hill,
thing about the Citrus Valley Mesa game. Hold on. Is that Pep had a highlight, and in the highlights he had an owl.
That was beautiful.
And Pep told me a really good story about he always. I said, why are you always shooting all these? He shoots interesting things. He'll find something like the mascot not getting his handshake by the team.
That video's on YouTube.
By the teams. And so I was asking him about the owl, and he said, okay, long story short, when he was up in Bakersfield, there was a heron that was flying around, and so he thought, wow, I'll shoot this. I think it was at a baseball game. And he started shooting the heron, and the heron ran right, honest to God, he says it's on YouTube too, ran right into a power line, and he actually got video footage of a heron being fried by electricity and falling to the ground. And he decided to actually put it in his package, much to the chagrin, I would say, of the TV station. But I found that very funny. But Pep is really good at finding the things you don't even notice at the game. I go right past all that stuff, and he's picking it all up.
That poor mascot at Great Oak there tonight for that volleyball game, but that was hilarious.
It's great.
He was like trying to give a high, or I don't know if it's a girl or a boy trying to give a high five to
the volleyball team.
Volleyball, they're like, yeah, whatever.
He's all, yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, so I'm sorry. Let's get back to it. I'm sure they don't want to hear our silly stories, but I do have it queued up if you're ready to go.
Yeah, here we go. 49-14 Cincinnati. All right, so this is a 31-yard field goal by Citrus Hill. We have no idea who the kid is at this point. All right, now this is Stephen Ham, the Poly quarterback. He's going to be sacked by Chris Gonzalez. Now Ham is going to be sacked again by Darnell Murray. So the Hawks taking care of Poly early on. Ham now a 32-yard run. Going to break loose just barely. A little bit of fancy footwork, and he's going to bowl his way down. These are all Poly highlights. I thought Citrus Hill won this game. Leighton Silva, 25-yard run, rolling and bowling and knocking him over. That kid's a tough kid.
He's a cowboy.
He's a cowboy, 25-yard run. And then here's Ham on an 8-yard touchdown run, and this is Poly leading 6-3 at halftime. Didn't we tell him to stay for the third quarter?
The very first time he tried to take some video in the third quarter, the camera went dead. Battery died.
Boy.
Hey, it's not my equipment. You're the. What? All
You're,
right.
you're the sergeant of arms of this facility.
And I screw up at every turn. I apologize.
Oh my
sir.
gosh.
Hey, by the way, I just want to give you a note from my mom. And I know it sounds kind of sad. My mom is making notes for me, but she wants you to stop yelling at me, Louis.
Yeah, my mom
for
said.
some reason.
My mom said to start yelling at you more.
Maybe we should have a battle royale
Sure,
between
bro.
your mom and my mom.
They're both nurses, right? So they would probably be good.
Yeah.
Probably
So they could
probably fun.
actually they'd probably get together and start picking on us. I really don't think we should get them together.
Yeah, Arlington loses to La Quinta, by the way, 15-6. That's the final.
I'm snoring.
Are you?
15-6. I am snoring.
You are snoring.
Well, hopefully this will be a shot in the arm to Coach McCarthy to bring my nephew up from the JV team to play quarterback
Boy.
since they don't have any offense.
Shameless.
A little shameless plug there
Shameless
for
plug.
Wyatt Moore, who threw for 200 yards in the JV game yesterday. I think he went like 7 for 10 passing for 200 yards and a touchdown.
According to the Desert Sun, Desert Hot Springs now leading Harupa Hills 28-27. Of course, that's from the highschoolsports.net site, which might be one of the worst websites I've ever seen in my life.
Nothing on there is accurate.
No,
accurate.
It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. All right, 10 o'clock here. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more here on HS Game Time Live. We'll show you some highlights from the Hemet Paris game. I'm sure you're all looking forward to that if you haven't looked at it already. We'll go to break number 2 on the night, and we'll be back with more here on HS Game Time Live. By Dave Zink, Adam Drexler, Jeff Prenti, Pep Fernandez, Chris Ericoli. We'll have more here from you as well, and we'll get to you in a minute.
We are your breaking news leader. When news happens, stay up to date with expanded coverage in the Press Enterprise delivered to your home. Follow the story throughout the day on PE.com. Receive news updates in your inbox or on your mobile device. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS.
All right, guys, we got to be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're going to run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm going to run around circles, flatten my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up.
To play 60!
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Do you enjoy watching HS Game Time live on Friday nights? If you do, then you'll love HSGT's Roundup. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, myself and Chris Ercole will bring you all the high school sports action from volleyball to boys water polo, even girls tennis. You name it, we'll have it every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights at hsgametime.pe.com.
What are your thoughts on Amistad and Zinc hosting that thing?
I think they're great. I love how they play off of each other and how they have a good time. So, it kind of reminds me of the Channel 5 morning news. You know how they at least a couple of years ago they used to kind of screw around in there and have some fun. It just makes it fun to watch. You're lighthearted, and then plus you're getting the information you need.
We cover the issues you care about. Here at the Press Enterprise and PE.com, local news matters whether you live along Route 66 or on Main Street. We provide regional analysis and in-depth investigation of issues like education, transportation, the environment, and much more. Important matters are covered here. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS.
HS Game Time Live.
We are your breaking news leader. News happens. Stay up to date with expanded coverage in the Press Enterprise delivered to your home. Follow the story throughout the day on PE.com. Receive news updates in your inbox or on your mobile device.
Ready?
Great.
That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery.
A few important messages from our sponsors, the Press Enterprise, who makes this possible. And that was the Poly cheerleaders and Vista Marietta cheerleaders, I believe, doing a little spirited things for us here. All right, well, welcome to HS Game Time Live. We are in week number 3. A lot of stuff to get to tonight, a lot of scores to talk about, and we are getting to some of them. 36-22, Paris has extended its lead now to over Hemet in the fourth quarter. This is Paris looking to snap an 8-game losing streak to Hemet that dates back to 2002. This is one of the oldest series in Riverside County. These two teams first started playing in 1928, and Hemet has pretty much owned this series, but not tonight. Paris looking to move to 3-0 on the night. North wins over Kaiser 34-7. A big win for the Huskies on the road against Kaiser, a team that they've sometimes struggled with. Yes. Right. All right. Let me go back through my score list here. Some of these you've already heard before, but that's part of what we're here. If you just joined us now, of course, the one that kind of stands out that we've been talking about quite a bit is that 49-14 now the final score for Centennial over Chaparral. Hayden Gavitt, very impressive in the second half. That game was reasonably close, and then Centennial separated. By the way, the fan picks in that one, I think, ended up being 38-13. Did anybody pick Chaparral? Don't think so. They're now 0-3. La Quinta loses to Arlington. Arlington loses to La Quinta 15-6. San Jacinto a winner over Indio 27-13. And let me get to most of my final scores here. The Upland one, though, is the one that Upland just absolutely crushing Norco 54-27 on the night. A game that we thought would be more competitive. All right, so forgive me while I look at these highlights here. This is from the Hemet Paris game, and the Panthers, they've got plenty of spirit here tonight. Even on the field where they were 2-0 coming into this game, Paris is already leading 7-0 in this game early on, in HD, by the way. There's the Paris cheerleaders, Paris Spirit. They were already leading 7-0 when they blocked this punt by Hemet Sean McGivney, and the Panthers recovered at the Hemet 1. Now, I think this is Vaughn Campbell, their quarterback. I'm not sure, but we'll get it corrected here when Prep Dog gets in. He plunges in from about a yard out, and now Paris is now up. This will lead to the PAT. They will be up 14-0 here. All right, so Hemet has to punt again. This time they punt it back to, it's partially blocked, and Paris fumbles it, but Hemet's Noel McKinney is there to recover it, and it's not playing.
It just froze.
All right, we'll get off
Interesting. It's still going. It looks like it's, I don't know what's up with that. We'll have to figure that out. Sorry about that, Lewis.
That computer can't handle it. That's probably what it is.
The high def?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably what it is. So, yeah, because that's the only camera we had available was a high def camera. All right, well, a couple of those highlights that if you're looking at those highlights right now, Hemet's defense would step up, and then Jacob Osborne would make a big stop. Of course, Hemet had an interception after that recovery. You got it back up there? Okay, not going. All right, so enjoy those highlights in the player, and we'll get to those ones. But Paris looking very, very good. Jim Alexander going to write a column out of that one.
Do what?
He's going to write a column out of that one about how Paris, back, kind of back now, after so many years of struggle.
Okay.
You don't agree with that?
I sure. Coach Smith was the last time they were any good, right?
No, they had some moments in the 90s. In the mid-90s.
Coach Smith?
No. This is not the Smith era, but he had already retired, I think.
Not in the early 90s.
No, this is the mid-90s when they were throwing the ball. Garrett Ritchie and all those guys were throwing the ball, a zillion times a game. All right.
You want to try it again, Lou?
No.
Okay.
Not in this segment. Do we have the ranch over? Do we have the show the Elsinore stuff for a second? Let me get this open for a second. Let me see what I've got from Elsinore, and that's the third one down.
Is that in the player, Lou?
Yep.
Okay, we'll get that cued for you.
Yeah, it's right after the Hemet footage, I believe.
He's getting there right now.
Elsinore's beaten Temecula Valley, but we have some footage here, and
just 1 second.
Well, welcome to us to another night with us, and hope you're enjoying the chat room as well.
Yeah.
And we're waiting.
There they go.
There they go. All right. So Temecula Valley scored first on a Derek Turin pass, and I think this is it. Again, those fun low light issues.
That's Temecula Valley.
Temecula Valley scoring there early. Alan Stubbs tears it up for Elsinore Tigers, though. He had a big first half.
Nice run.
Yeah, very nice run. And then Stubbs takes a pass. Actually, that's Stubbs running the ball, right? So it's a nice run. This then ties the game. And this is Daniel Rodriguez and a big run for the Tigers. He also made 2 field goals while the Bears missed 2. And that was the difference of 13-7 in the first half. So there you go.
Interesting.
Yep. Yeah, very much so.
Elsinore is, just looking at those highlights, I covered Elsinore for a couple years back, and they're just very workmanlike team. There's not a lot of flash to Elsinore. They just get it done.
They just take care of business.
Yeah, they do. They get it done.
That's how we should be. We should strive to be as good as Elsinore.
So I'm striving to be Elsinore now? Is that
No, we should strive to be as good as Elsinore.
Oh, you're saying I'm not?
No, I'm not saying you specifically. You should strive to be as good as Notre Dame, but
I take offense at you telling my good man Drexler and Parenti that they're not as good as Elsinore.
No, I'm saying that we should strive to be as good as Elsinore.
Which says we're not as good as Elsinore.
Right now, no. They're a championship team right now.
You see these guys are working hard out here.
They are working hard out there. So, but everybody works hard. No doubt about it. If you want to play the game of football, you got to work hard. You know that for a fact, Dave.
Yeah. Or stand on the sideline like I did.
Redlands. Jim Walker had touted that he had one of the best teams he had in a long time. Is now 1-3. They lose to La Casa Canyon 28-13.
And I'm sure Pep's wife is really upset about that.
Golly, I'm sure you probably cried yourself to sleep.
Because
you love the Terriers.
No, not at all.
28-13, they lose to La Casa Canyon.
I like their helmets.
Walter Jones scored a 35-yard run, and Jim Walker threw a 36-yard touchdown pass. Redlands led 13-0.
Did you just say Jim Walker threw a touchdown pass?
His son, Jimmy Walker.
Oh. Threw me for a loop there.
Yeah, I know. Jimmy Walker, the
Could
son.
you see Jim Walker throwing a touchdown pass
I
right
could,
now?
actually. And he'd be laughing about it.
Would he have a leather helmet on doing that?
He would have a leather helmet on doing that. Jim Walker's great. Too bad he's 1-3.
He's gruff.
He is gruff.
I don't think he likes. He doesn't like me. I know that.
He doesn't like anybody.
Oh, well then.
And it's you and me both.
Gee, I thought it was about me.
Oh man, I only covered them for a year, but it was fun.
Yeah, he's actually a nice guy. But after a game, you got to walk softly.
Valley View, Jack Fogarty beating his old team. They win 28-0 over Canyon Springs, 1-0 in the Ivy League.
And Valley View is probably going to be in the top 5 in their division.
They're 4-0.
Yeah, with a sophomore quarterback, Abraham Nuno.
Let's see. The only scorer coming on an 80-yard standout or run back Michael Harris. He's a nice season. Michael Harris is having a nice season. They scored 21-13 third quarter points, and Abraham Nuno threw a touchdown to Rashad Stevenson. Will Evans scored another. And Harrison added his second touchdown. Harrison rushed for 120 yards.
It's Nuno, not Nuno.
I said Nuno, didn't I?
You said Nuno.
Okay, Nuno. Okay, Abraham Nuno threw a touchdown to Rashad Stevenson, and Harrison rushed for 120 yards. And Evans tallied 70. As the Eagles did most of their scoring on quick strike, big play. So Valley View, I think they have a bye. They have a bye in the next week, but I'm not certain of that because they opened up that early game there in the Inland Valley League. San Jacinto has beaten Indio 27-13. No details available on that game. Reuben Kelly scored Arlington's only points on a 7-yard run, but the Arlington Lions fall down to the La Quinta Blackhawks 15-6 down in the desert. Not an easy place to play. And La Quinta, which was 0-3 coming into that game, of course they played like Mission Viejo the week before.
Well, and here you go with that Central Division. You can see Valley View's likely to move up. Arlington's going to drop down. It's going to be interesting. It's kind of interesting. Arlington, I don't think, has been out of the top 5 in that division in 2 years.
It's a good question whether they even belong in the top 10 at 1 and 2.
I would say they still do, but they definitely need to drop. I mean,
right.
I mean, I don't know what La Sierra did tonight, but
They're playing Tahakowitz.
Oh, that's a win.
So that might be wow.
That's a win.
Wow.
Come on, really?
Wow.
Okay, I'm sorry. I take that back, Tahakowitz.
Tahakowitz has shown some grit, not a lot of grit. You know, they played tough against Temescal Canyon. They didn't play very good against Murrieta Mesa last week. But we'll keep an eye on that one, on how La Sierra is doing. Go back to that division again. I want to look at it one more time. All right, so Rancho Verde solid, Cajon solid, Palm Springs very solid. Although, you know, if you really look at Palm Springs' schedule, they've beaten Palm Desert, they've beaten Moreno Valley,
Corona.
They've beaten Corona, and then they have to go play up at 29 Palms, who's playing Banning tonight.
And you think they'll win there? That's a tough place to win. That's a long way. But for them, it's not so far to go.
I'd say you're huge. Why would they play that game?
What's that?
Why would they play that game?
To pad their... I don't know.
I don't know. Strange.
Shocking.
It is shocking.
Shocking.
All right.
So what's the most shocking win for you tonight, Lewis?
Upland.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really?
Yeah, absolutely.
They were ranked ahead of them in their own division.
Yeah, but you don't beat Norco 54-27 at Norco.
That's true. That's very true.
You know, you might score 54 points against Norco, but Norco's going to beat you anyway. Well, how many times have we seen that?
It is a bit surprising.
Right.
I don't know if it's shocking though.
I think it's well, yeah, you're right. They're ahead of. No, I don't know. 54.
They have a sophomore quarterback. I mean, I understand he's Colton Gerhardt and all that, and but it's still a sophomore quarterback.
They scored 54 points on Norco though.
True.
Let's see what the chat room says. Let me see what the chat room says.
He says we're nuts.
Well, of course they do. We are nuts. All right, fans out there, shocking yes or no? Upland beating. Shocking Upland doing this. One guy says, "Shocking." I'm still watching this.
Yeah, exactly. Shocking. I actually listened to you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shocking. You have the score. Not shocking.
If things were right, we'd have Parenti in your chair, and you'd be in Parenti's chair. If things were right.
Right.
But then we'd end up talking about Raiders.
Very shocking. Shocking. It says how bad Norco is this year.
Wow.
These are some of the fan posts.
Oh, is that how you're reading?
Right.
I thought you were just throwing these things out there for us.
Very shocking. Shows. Look at the Freeman. Who cares for the Freeman rings? Not shocking. Upland is much better than Norco. Upland wants to Marietta. Valley View. Shocking. No ruling scores. Baseline is good this year. Not shocking. Norco was stupid enough to hire Chap's sorry coach.
Who said what person said the no rolling scores?
I don't know. They don't have names on this show.
Darn it. That's good.
We're switching back, by the way, to the other chat.
That's the best line tonight. Shocking, there are no rolling scores. And whoever said that, I give you a thumb. Oops, where's the camera?
Shocking, Paris is 3-0.
What's that?
Yeah, it's shocking that Paris is 3-0.
That is shocking. Mm-hmm. But they're playing. Who'd they beat?
They beat him.
And who else? They're 3-0.
They beat Canyon Springs and they beat somebody else too.
The triumvirate of teams. That's probably a triumvirate of 3 winless teams.
People calling for the firing of Heritage's coach.
Wow.
Shocking that Mesa's 3-0. Poor Norco. Go Lambs.
Wait, is that a Meritta Mesa reference?
Yeah. Shocking that Heritage thinks they can beat Elsinore. I don't know that that's necessarily shocking.
Heritage has showed themselves to be a pretty good team.
Yeah. I don't know that Elsinore could beat Rancho Verde.
Why? It's a difference in styles. Mm-hmm. I mean, Elsinore is going to try and slow play you, right?
Right.
And win 15-12 or something, and Rancho Verde is going to try and run away from you. So, I mean, that'd be a real interesting game.
It would be. That'd probably be like the Colton game last year, where Elsinore probably slow them down.
Yeah,
that'd be very compelling.
Hold the ball, play good defense, and get your points when you can. It's turnovers and defense that win those types of games usually.
Right. Everyone's going, not shocking how Chaparral lost. A lot of Chaparral haters in the chat room.
Well, I mean, they really fell. I mean, they've really fallen in less than 2 years.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they went from a CIF championship to, whipping boy for a lot of teams.
A lot of hatred for Tommy Leach, too.
I don't know why. Tommy Leach is at Norco.
I know. That's what they're saying. They're saying it's a terrible hire.
Oh, wow.
They also
Tommy's
had a
great
bad
interview.
day against Heritage last year. I think they would get him this year. they limit mistakes, Elson will control the clock.
Tommy's a great interview and very, very helpful. He loves talking, so it's great to remember when he went. I remember when Calkins was still here, and he did his whole. He's protesting the media, so he's not going to talk, and he didn't talk for like a month, and then they I forget where they got in the season, and eventually just out of nowhere he started talking again. I guess he couldn't hold his tongue any longer.
Yeah, I guess not. He just an interview because he loves to hear his own voice.
Remember last year when we were at Centennial for the Inland Division Championship, and he showed up and walked all the way across the field and right to us, and we ended up talking to him.
It's always nice when the fans berate us. They're like, the one guy says, this is we'll interview. He likes to hear his own voice, and then one guy says, like these two. Enough of you people. I'm done with you all. All right, back to the scores.
You are 100% correct. I like to hear my own voice
every day. Every day.
Who are we supposed to talk to?
I don't know.
Are we here?
I mean, clearly we can't have.
Ready? 10 seconds of silence and see if they like this better. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
I said silence.
I'm getting messages from people saying that the site is very, very slow right now.
Really?
Yes, that it's bogged down with folks. All right, CMI winning on the road at Southwest down in San Diego, 26-12 over San Diego Southwest.
Notre Dame grad brings them to another great season.
Yeah, it's a great. You know that by the way, speaking of Notre Dame, that the field at Heritage is called the Marion Ashley Field, Marion Ashley Stadium.
Is that right?
That is right. Yes. Richard Blackman had a monster game for CMI in the Rough Riders 26-12 win over Southwest. Blackman had 2 touchdown passes, intercepted 2 passes, and forced 2 fumbles for CMI. Very impressive night. That's like a all-star performance there. Let me just see if I can look at some of the other scores.
I thought that was one of the classiest things of last year when Coach Johnson, although was offered another job, decided to stay at CMI because he had committed to those kids at CMI, and I thought that was a real class move. And maybe in a year or two he'll end up moving on, but to be able to do that is just I think you don't see that a lot. People just kind of go on and move on for their own interests.
Clearly he doesn't have clearly he's done a good job there too.
An outstanding job. Yeah. And so has Tom Ashley, the principal of that school.
Marion Ashley's son.
Yes. And former Notre Dame grad.
There we go. It's all about Notre Dame. All right, so
North. It all comes around. It's a big circle.
It does. North, by the way, speaking of former grads, Duran Smith, the Banning High School grad. I didn't have his video, by the way.
Darn it. That's like the video of all time, the best video of all time.
So Duran Smith of Fresno State, who had a pick against Taylor Martinez of Nebraska, broke his arm. I'm not sure which arm he broke, but he broke his arm. He's out for the season at Fresno State. Pat Hill was on the record saying he was very disappointed about how that happened, and is now going to redshirt Duran for the rest of the season.
Speaking of Taylor Martinez, did you notice that first of all, Mike Churchill is at Laguna High School, and that Taylor Martinez's younger brother is playing for Churchill last week, rushing for total offense, I think, was over 300 yards.
At Laguna Beach or Laguna Hills?
Laguna Beach.
Okay.
And
the artists.
Yeah, and he rushed for he had over 300 yards offense. I don't know if he rushed for all that, and he had like 5 touchdowns. So kind of interesting. The younger Martinez, I don't know what he's doing down there, but they kind of moved around because Taylor did the same thing, I believe.
Right.
He played for a couple schools.
Played for Rev, right?
Did he play for Rev or Norco?
I think it was Rev.
It was Rev, yeah.
All right, let me just go through the score list again. So CMI wins. La Costa Canyon beating Redlands 28-13. 29 Palms, 48-0 over Banning. So the wheels have fallen off there. Cruz Candelaria has 3 rushing touchdowns in the shutout over Banning, which is now 0-3. And Coach Martinez saying, our kids executed well tonight. We came out and we did exactly what we wanted to do. We ran the ball well. And clearly they did. So 48-0. 29 Palms ranked 4th in the East Valley division. That's a tough division, actually, because you got Paraclete and Sierra Canyon in there. They're like the only public school that's in there that sort of stands a chance. But they have to play, of course, Yucca Valley, which is pretty good, too.
Now, that's not their first solid victory.
No.
29 Palms has upset a couple people,
right? They played well. They beat Aquinas.
Yeah.
Right. They handled Aquinas. San Jacinto beating Indio 27-13. Noah Widgeons and Casey Clark combined for 4 touchdowns. Each rushed for 100 yards in that win. The Tigers struggled with turnovers again, including 2 deep in their own territory. That was their problem against Heritage, by the way. They had a lot of turnovers in that game. They had 3 in the second quarter. All of those Heritage turned into touchdowns. Valley View has shut out Canyon Springs 28-0 in the Inland Valley League open for both teams. We talked about Mr. Michael Harrison, an 80-yard run. early in the game, and he finished up with a big night, 120 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. La Quinta 15, Arlington 6. La Quinta, which played the monster schedule, I think they were 0-3 coming into the game. They take care of Arlington at home, 15-6. Centennial has pulled away from this game. They separate again, 49-14. I think the fans are saying this one 38-18. It was like 40-17 early on in the fan picks. I think everyone picked Centennial in this game.
Everybody did.
Everybody did. However, what were the big surprises so far? Well, obviously Norco.
That is obviously everyone picked it the other way. Yeah. So
big win for Rancho Christian. The coach called us last week, 39-0. We'll have the call line open in a little bit here.
He'll be on the late show tonight.
Hopefully, yeah. 39-0 the win for Rancho Christian as they go up the road to Hamilton and play in a tough environment there, but they handle themselves very well, 39-0. Eisenhower wins 21-14 over Arroyo Valley. Rubidoux, 35-34 win over View Park. Notre Dame, 28-14 win against Xavier Prep on the road. Everybody's down in the desert this weekend. Upland, as we mentioned, 54-27, the final score of EPJ on in a little bit. Talk about the impact of that game on the Inland Division. Rev holds off Dorsey, 14-12. Austin DeCoute, 2 touchdown passes in that game. Big final there for Murrieta Valley. They hold off Temescal Canyon, which is beat up. And watch out for Temescal Canyon. You're talking about Heritage and Elsinore. Temescal Canyon doesn't have their best guys in there. And they hold up tight with Temescal or Murrieta Valley 27-21. Vista Murrieta on the road against Los Osos. They win 30-14. That's a final score now. Big win there. Sioux Cravens had 2 scores for Vista Murrieta, sorry. 1 rushing touchdown from 65 yards out, and he caught a 24-yard touchdown pass. Dylan Bernard had a 46-yard interception return for a score. Elsinore wins over Temecula Valley. You saw some of those highlights. 26-7 is the win for Elsinore. Alan Stubbs had 145 yards and 2 touchdowns as Elsinore moves to 3-0. They are ranked number 1 in their division. Etiwanda, which had its immense struggles against Miller, 47-12. Let me back that up for a second. Etiwanda, which has immense struggles against Norco and Vista Murrieta in both losses. They explode tonight for a win against Miller, 47-12. By the way, they're 2-0 against the Fontana Unified School District because they beat Summit in their opener. Paloma Valley had a huge lead. They just cruised against Cathedral City, which now has lost 22 consecutive games. They fall to Paloma beats Cathedral City 41-6. Bloomington Christian 8-man game, 43-6 winner over West Shores, and Rancho Verde has beaten Heritage 35-21. I think that is all the scores we have right now. We are working furiously to get that fixed.
And just in case you haven't seen, the phone lines are open now, 951-260-0474. If you'd like to talk to us or you got a comment about a game, we'd love to hear about the game you're at. Again, call us at 951-260-0474.
Just looking at the chat room, somebody says the Paloma Valley game was boring after 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
They scored a lot of points. How can that be boring?
No, because it was such a bad game. It was easy.
Well,
they were up
Tutwiler must have looked like an all-star.
Well, they've scored they scored like 90 points in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
So.
And I've picked them twice. Paloma's my dark horse.
I picked Paloma against Great Oak in the first. I mean, I was in love with Paloma after the passing leagues.
So Will C. Holden went on out to talk with Bert Esposito, and I asked him to go up to Esposito and ask him about a friend of mine's son who's playing on the JV team. And Will had the.
They're saying the chat room guy said they went out in the second quarter.
Is that right?
With an ankle.
Oh my!
I'm sorry, continue though.
No. But he went and asked Esposito, but he prompted him to act like he didn't know who this kid was. Mm-hmm. And I've got the video, so I'm going to take the video and send it to the kid's dad.
Nice.
And show. Well, they're really wrapped in the program. They're like ball boys and everything, and so he's going to make it look like he doesn't know who the heck Bradley Taylor, by the way, is. So.
Final score in the chat room: Villa Park winning over Norte Vista 42-14. People are asking if you have a score, please share it with us. We'd love to hear from you on that one, because it's very difficult to cover every game in the region. By the way, we'll have photos. By the way, we'll show you guys here in our next big break from our great photographers here at the Press Enterprise. We had several games that we were covering. By the way, here are the games we're looking to show you tonight. We'll show you those in a minute. We have a bunch of games that we're going to have video on. Chaparral Centennial, Upland at Norco, North at Kaiser, Poly Citrus Hill, Rancho Verde at Heritage, Yucaipa at San G, Indio at San Jacinto, Temecula Valley at Elsinore, Murrieta Valley at Temescal Canyon, and we have Hemet up there as well, if you care to take a look at that one. And it looks like Paris has won that game. Let's take a break, and we'll be back in a moment with more from HS Game Time Live.
We are your breaking news leader. News happens. Stay up to date with expanded coverage in the Press Enterprise delivered to your home. Follow the story throughout the day on PE.com. Receive news updates in your inbox or on your mobile device. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS.
All right, guys, we gotta be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're gonna run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm gonna run around in circles, flat my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up
To play 60!
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Do you enjoy watching HS Game Time live on Friday nights? If you do, then you'll love HSGT's Roundup. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, myself and Chris Ercole will bring you all the high school sports action, from volleyball to boys water polo, even girls tennis. You name it, we'll have it every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights at hsgametime.pe.com.
What are your thoughts on Amistad and Zinc hosting that thing?
I think they're great. I love how they play off of each other and how they have a good time. So, it kind of reminds me of the Channel 5 morning news. You know how they, at least a couple of years ago, they used to kind of screw around in there and have some fun. It just makes it fun to watch. You're lighthearted, and then plus you're getting the information you need.
We cover the issues you care about. Here at the Press Enterprise and PE.com, local news matters whether you live along Route 66 or on Main Street. We provide regional analysis and in-depth investigation of issues like education, transportation, the environment, and much more. Important matters are covered here. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS. We are your breaking news leader. News happens. Stay up to date with expanded coverage in the Press Enterprise delivered to your home. Follow the story throughout the day on PE.com. Receive news updates in your inbox or on your mobile device. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS.
All right, guys, we gotta be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're gonna run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm gonna run around in circles, flat my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up
To play 60!
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Do you enjoy watching HS Game Time live on Friday?
You're watching HS Game Time. We'll be back in just a moment.
Well, welcome back. I'm glad you could join us here on week number 3. It's our 4th show of the 2011 football season, and we've had a lot of fun already talking about the games that have taken place tonight. We've talked about games that have shocked us, and Upland shocks me.
And you know, I was just talking with Eric Paul Johnson, and based on his assessment of this game, you know, they held the ball for Norco had the ball 11 minutes in the first quarter, okay, and really got nothing out of it.
Right.
But he said that the Upland team is going to be matchup problems for teams in the Big 8, and that's according to Gerhardt. And that and the other thing that I took away from that was their defensive line. They're running a 3-man front, and they're able to get into the backfield to get to Colton Gerhardt as he's handing the ball off, and that was a regular theme throughout the game.
Well, we'll see that probably in the video that Chris Erickley will bring to us here in a little bit. Yucaipa is now 4-0 on the season. They beat Sanji 42-31 in sort of a bellwether game, I think, because Sanji had played previously Rancho Verde and Rev last week, and they were handled by both those teams. But the Sanji offense showed up tonight, and they had a good night against Yucaipa. But Yucaipa has been scoring points like crazy. They had only allowed 3 points in their first 3 games.
Well, and it's interesting about Yucaipa. The interesting thing about Yucaipa is, you know, 2 years ago they were a doormat, and last year they kind of blossomed a bit. I think they just missed the playoffs, but this year it looks like they're playoff bound.
Well, it's kind of a 3-team league right now, I think. It's hard to say in the CBL because you've got Rev, which is the clear-cut number 1. I'd say Yucaipa's number 2, and again with Redlands being 1 and 3, of course, you know, look who they've lost to. Left to Summit, Los Osos, and La Costa Canyon. It's hard to say where Redlands is going to be. Redlands could be 7 and 3 or 6 and 4.
Yeah.
You know.
But it will be interesting. At least Redlands will be battle tested, if
Right.
nothing else.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let me see here. We got Paloma Valley. Actually, let me go back to the Yucaipa game for a second because Clayton Leach Mead rushed for more than 250 yards. And the defense came to play in the last part of the game as they've done all season. And so big night for Yucaipa. Paloma Valley 41-36. They lost quarterback Logan Tutwiler to a foot injury in the second quarter. And Bert Esposito said he's not sure of the extent of the injury. Quote, he's going to have it checked in the morning, but we held him out because he couldn't even walk on it much. Also, David Solis who rolled an ankle in the third quarter, couldn't return. They also had a bunch of penalties, so that kind of slowed them down a little bit. Not a good loss, you know, to lose a key player like that. I mean, it was a big win, but those are the ones you're terrified of.
And foot injuries are the worst to have because, I mean, you can't bear weight on a foot injury at all.
No, absolutely not. CMI, big winner over Southwest 26-12. And going back through the list, a tie. A tie, 34-34. Hooper Valley tying Ontario Christian. Oh, we have a call. Go right ahead. Okay, 1 second. We'll take a call. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook at HS Game Time Live. We'd love to hear your comments throughout the night and become a fan of HS Game Time Live on Facebook. All right, you ready?
Okay, I can hear you. I'm trying to take it to this.
I can hear you. I can hear you. They can hear you.
I can hear the caller.
Go ahead. Put them on. You're on HS Game Time Live. Who's this?
This is David Bradley from Notre Dame High School.
Oh, David. How you doing, man?
Well, pretty good. The Titans, they had a nice second half. Overcame a 14-point halftime deficit, 120-14 over Xavier Prep. Kind of a nice warm-up for next week's Holy War against Aquinas. And had a nice game from Joshua Ivory, who ran 32 times for about 240 yards. So it was a nice game for Joshua. Nice kind of, we snapped the 2-game losing streak and, getting ready for Aquinas next week. Big game next week going into the league.
Those two losses, though, were against two pretty good programs, though, in Whittier Christian and it looks like possibly Palo Verde's a pretty good team, too. Would you say, Dave?
Well, we needed a win.
Yeah.
We needed some confidence, and running the ball was a way to get it back. And so it was just nice to have some momentum going in the Aquinas game, because definitely it's going to be a much bigger challenge, much more challenging team than what we face tonight.
Right. That's gonna be an interesting game because obviously it means a lot for Aquinas too because they're trying to get themselves righted. So what was Xavier Prep like though? Were they competitive or?
I'm having trouble hearing you. Come in weird.
Yeah, I know. I'm having trouble hearing you too. Well, hey David, we're gonna take another call. All right, we'll talk to you soon, man. Thanks for calling in though.
Hey, thank you so much.
All right, thanks,
Bye-bye.
David. All right, we got another call.
They hung up.
right,
Someone will be calling.
all right.
Again, it's a good opportunity. Phone lines are now open, 951-260-0474. So give us a call, talk about the game you're at, or ask us, I don't know if you want to ask us any questions. We don't know anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll do our best to answer the questions we have.
We'll do this. We got a phone call again. Here we go, Lewis.
All right, you're on HS Game Time Live. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Rob. I was calling from the Vista Murrieta and Los Osos game.
All right, how'd that go?
Well, I don't know how Vista does it, man. They played a really sloppy game tonight. First half, they controlled the defensive controlled Los Osos, no problem. Second half, all 5, I think, possessions that Vista had, or a total of 6, 5 of them, they turned over the ball.
Right.
They seem to move the ball really well on Los Osos, no problem. That Sua Cravens, man, if they don't turn that guy into a tailback full-time next year, they're crazy.
So they should turn him into a fullback right now, right?
We should have uploaded.
I'm telling you, fullback or halfback, he can run the ball, and he gets the ball, and he's, if you look at his stats tomorrow, they'll show you he gets the ball and he, carries the ball 6-7 yards every time.
Right.
But, I don't know how Vista does it. They played a really sloppy game. Kind of frustrating to watch them sometimes, but they're so tenacious and so disciplined in the sense that, as far as the defensive core, it's going to be hard to run on them this year. I think they look great stopping the run. They still need some work on defense, the pass thing, but they get it done. I don't know how, but they get it done.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about, Vista Murrieta is the times I've seen them play, it's like, sometimes you're right. It is sort of frustrating watching them because you expect so much from them. I remember seeing them last year and thinking, they're going to explode offensively, and they never really did it. But defensively, they make things happen, and that special teams play is great too. Now they got a big game next week against Crespi. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, they're going to have to just play a great game. I think they are much better defense on the run. Crespi's a passing team, of course. So it'll be tough. I don't understand offense on them because they seem to just run 2 or 3 plays for the first half. They don't show anything, and then they'll come out the second half and kind of open it up. I think they're going to have to open it up a lot, and I think they're going to have to be really crisp on defense.
Right.
They have the talent, and they're going to surprise people. They're just one of those teams. They're not fun to watch or frustrating, but they end up getting it done. But I don't know. This will be a great test for him next week.
Great. Hey, thanks, Rob, for calling in. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right. Got another call here. Hi, you're on HS Game Time Live. Who's this?
Hello?
Hello, who's this? Nope. Guess not. All right, you can call us at 951-260-0474. Looks like we got another call.
Call us back. That was on the boards.
That was the board's fault.
Yeah, really. Tell whoever that is, please call us back at 260-0474, 951-260-0474.
So that was Rob from Vista Marietta, just reiterating the conversation that how frustrating it is to watch Vista Marietta's offense, but they get things done, which is what their storyline has been the whole time.
And here we go, back again.
All right, here we go.
Hello?
Hey, who's this?
Hey, who's this? This is Paula from Citrus Hill. How about giving us a shout-out? We beat Pauly tonight.
Well, that's a good win for you guys. Pauly gave you guys a good test there, didn't they?
What?
Pauly was giving you guys a good test. I mean, early on, they were up, right?
Right, they were up 6-3, but we came back at start of the third quarter.
Well, Citrus Hill.
Andre Mitchell, baby, ran it all the way down to the 3-yard line.
Well, Citrus Hill is looking good. They're one of our favorite teams to watch, and they certainly are fun. We're going to see how they do as they get into Mountain Pass League play here in a couple weeks. All right,
It's
so
going to be real interesting.
good shout out for Citrus Hill. Big win tonight against Riverside Poly. Thanks for calling in. All right, we got another call. Let's take this call.
Hello?
Hello, who's this? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Elsinore.
Elsinore. So a big win. Okay, well, actually, I should qualify that. Elsinore, Temescal, or Lakeside?
Are you a fan of?
Are you a fan of? Yes.
I'm an Elsinore fan.
Okay, so they beat Temecula Valley tonight. Give us your take on the game.
Oh, I definitely picked for Elsinore. We're up against Marietta Valley. I think that's going to be our toughest test next week.
So, what do you think is going to be the test? In that game, what is it? Is it just Marietta Valley's size? How well they're coached? I mean, what do you think about it? What's made that game interesting?
I don't know. It's a mental thing, I think, with Elsinore. Maybe sometimes when we come up against Elsinore with Marietta Valley,
With Marietta Valley, right? Right. Well, it sounds like
it's a little tough for us to overcome it.
Well, it sounds like you guys took care of Temecula Valley pretty well tonight, though. Too. Were you at the game or?
I was at the game. We had a couple lights out. The lights went out twice on us.
Jeez, that's like 2 weeks in a row, right?
3 weeks.
3 weeks in a row.
3 home games in a row, yeah.
Well, that's not good.
Terrible.
Gotta get that fixed for the CI championship game in December, I bet, right?
Yeah, we're definitely happy to hear the Heritage lost. So that was enough for the league for us.
Well, Heritage
That's
loses.
Going to be a test in the Sun Belt League.
Yeah, absolutely. Heritage loses. Temescal loses, and then Paloma won, but they lost their quarterback. So some interesting news in the Sun Belt League. And Paris won tonight too. So, yeah. All right. Hey, we appreciate you calling. We got more calls. Thanks for calling, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
All right. So an Elsinore fan.
You didn't ask him.
What was there? Well, he said that the lights had gone out.
I know, but I mean, it's like of all the fields down that area, all the new fields in that area, they've got,
I can't figure it out either.
It's an ancient field.
It's like you got all these nice facilities down there. You got Marietta, just down the road, you got Marietta Mesa, Vista Marietta, and then you've got Marietta Valley.
I haven't even seen Lakeside's field. Is that nice?
Yeah, it's nice. Lakeside's nice. So is Temescal Canyon, and then you got Elsinore.
Well, and it's kind of funny. I like it because it reminds me, Elsinore and Norco always reminded me of each other in the way the fields were. They were kind of back in the community. You actually, when you go to the Elsinore's game, you go down that side street that's all the way down the side is pretty much a dead end. There's not a curb on the street. Maybe there is now, but when I was going there was not a curb on the street. So it was like going back into the country, and there's just a field back, or a football field back there, which is really cool. But it really, they need to update that field.
Yeah, it was not. It was. I mean, I like it, but it's not necessarily not fitting of all the programs around the area. I mean, by far, considering the size of the school and their history, they deserve something probably on par with the teams in their own league. I mean, you look at Paloma's facilities, Heritage facilities; they're all really, really nice.
Well, you go and win another CIF title. I guess you got a pretty good argument for can we get a facility?
Paris' facilities were beautiful, gorgeous facility tonight.
They just updated the old one?
A few years ago. It's been a while since I've been there, but I was really impressed. I mean, they've moved things around. I mean, the home side bleachers now are on the east side of the stadium now, but it's really, really nice. They did a really good job with it. All right, let's just see those real quick.
Okay, let's go for some Centennial.
We're going to take we'll take the phone line list down here. Here it is. So we don't really know what's going on here. There's the cheerleaders for Centennial. And there is Shappy.
I wondered about Max Rupp's ranking.
And finally to the game we go.
Yeah, there we go. So a punt return.
909-47.
Tackle.
Yeah, there it is.
Goodman.
So Ramel Goodman now breaking loose. And he's shifty. Oh, he's horse-collared. Is that a penalty?
Should be.
Yeah. Hayden Gavitt in with the run for the score. Look at all the flash photography. That's Max Preps right there.
Yeah.
That's Max Preps taking flash photos because they can sell them better.
Oh, my gosh.
Nice.
Blow up that play.
Goodman shut down. So Marin handing off and
Face
Centennial face mask.
To the 1.
He really wrestled his way through to get that one up.
Yeah.
Marin's going to punch it in himself. And there's the C for Chaparral. Chaparral's field and track aren't very nice either. So early on in the game is tied. Hayden Gavitt with the big throw across the middle. And that will go all the way for a touchdown. That's a big, big play there. Oh, wait. He's going to be pulled down at the 3-yard line. I guess I shouldn't suppose. I don't have a list of shots here. Gavitt will punch it in on the corner there. Now 14-7 here in the first quarter. Gavin's going to keep it, and he looks really good. Breaks loose right across the 50 before he's knocked out of bounds. Here goes Gavitt again, hands off to Goodman right through the middle, and Goodman will bring it down to about the 13-yard line. And now Goodman again up. He fumbles that one. So that drive will end with a fumble. Again, we're kind of just seeing these for the first time. And here it is. And Chaparral, Marin with the tip and the interception now to Chaparral or to Centennial. That'll bring it down to about the 3-yard line. And then Goodman will punch it in for the score. And Centennial now rolling 21-7. Here is Marin now, a handoff. And he is brought down. Who's number 5 for Chaparral? Anybody know? I don't have a roster in front of me. But Marin will break loose. Little forearm action there, and he will run in for the score. It's now 21-14. That's all the highlights we have from the first half. Final score, 49-14. Thanks, Jennifer Whitaker. She had a long, long day. She had training here early in the day. And now we will be joined by these two guys. What are you guys up to?
What's cracking, Lewis? We're here to... Whoa, Nelly. Hey, hot mic. We're here to bring the excitement from what was, well, not so exciting for Norco. It was exciting for Upland. It started out as a close game. It was 14-14. Whoa, Lewis almost broke his microphone there.
I almost killed myself there.
And there was a lot of breaking down of the Norco secondary.
According to the fans, by the way, that wouldn't be a bad thing if I broke my mic at this point.
Oh, yeah. We will roll to the highlights. 0-0 in the second quarter. Nate Romaine would take care of that for Upland as he connects with a wide-open Marcus Mosley for the 47-yard score, 7-zipper. And after that, it would turn into a dream combination for this guy, Lewis, a mix of track and field and football, as both teams would be off to the races. It's Cameron Hemmings for Norco, running free for the 95-yard return, 7-7. Then it's Mr. Mosley with more of the same. No idea if he's related to Sugar Shane, but this play would be sweet as sugar as he takes off for a 95-yard return of his own. 14-7 the score. Now time for Norco to return fire, though. Their big gun, Colton Gearhart, faking the handoff and continuing the family tradition of breaking off for long touchdown scores with a 60-yarder, 14-all. Still in the second quarter, the touchdown fiesta would continue. This time it's a little trickery from Upland as Kenny Lawler finds a wide-open Kendall Dukes for the score, 21-14, and it would unravel for Norco from there. The handoff is fumbled with a prime field goal position going to Upland, and the Highlanders would crank up the engine and fly right by. It's Lawler down to the 1-yard line on this pass from Romine. Then it's Upland running back Donta Abron finishing business from there, taking it in for short yardage, 28-14. Then another costly turnover for Norco as the punt snap is fumbled by Robert Boggs, and that just sets up prime field goal position for Upland once again. An absolute beauty from Romine to his favorite Kenny Lawler as he makes the Lynn Swan catch and tiptoes the corner of the end zone. Upland simply too much for Norco to handle tonight. They lose 54-27. Definitely things not going too well in the second quarter. I think we all had Norco going and taking care of business in this game, and not a lot of correct predictions. I know my friend there from HSGT Late Night, Will Holden, did pick Upland in the game. I'm sure he will be boasting about that. But Norco, simply the secondary struggling and not enough deep ball attack from Norco. EPJ will be in a little bit later. He was walking down the sideline, and he heard a lot of the chatter from the coaches on the Norco staff. He will have the insider on a lot of their disappointment.
What went wrong for Norco?
Yeah, their lack of execution, as you could see there. But simply, not only a lack of execution, but simply being overmatched there in the passing game. And it took a quarter for Upland it took a quarter for anyone to score that. It was 0-0, and then it was like, as I said, a touchdown fiesta there in the second half, or in the second quarter, rather, and kind of broke down the spirits of Norco on their home turf. Pretty disappointing loss, but they've had 2 good wins already against 2 pretty good teams. So you don't want to hang your heads because there's plenty of football left to be played in the season for Norco.
Don't let one football fiesta do you in.
Yes,
if you're Norco.
that is the
That's
theme.
the moral of the story.
Yes,
Eric
sir.
delivering to us tonight.
Yes.
Thanks, Chris. I guess you're going to go edit some
I will. I'm gonna
North
go,
Kaiser
Yes,
highlights.
more
North,
excitement.
I saw the score, North continuing to be on a roll, 34-7 against
They are
Kaiser,
red hot.
final score. So.
That is John Murphy's favorite team, so maybe he can tell us something about him.
JW North. I'd love to have the prep dog on the show tonight. So insightful. That guy's great.
A real treat.
He's a 49ers fan, too.
Before we get started, we got to make sure that your highlights are in the player. So hold on a second.
They should be. As of a couple minutes ago, I believe they were.
Yeah. And the view from those highlights tonight that I shot was just beautiful. A great idea from Lewis. I mean, the angle was good. At first, I felt like I was in Abbottabad staring at, spying on the compound of Bin Laden.
Chris
but
is part of SEAL Team 6. People
don't
really know that.
A little known fact. Actually, that's why I got this wound here on my foot. I took a knife to the foot when I was escaping from the prison camp. But I lived to tell the story.
Yeah, and the highlights were great. You made it back.
I think I was confusing Abbottabad with Hemet, but they look pretty similar. So,
well, I saw the Hemet game tonight, so it was painful. Not like your mighty Palm Springs Indians.
Yeah, that was a thing of beauty. Palm Springs looking good. At least 20 NFL players on that team right now. I'm going to have to say.
Well, when they get beat by 29 pounds next week, what would you say?
Highly unlikely, unless 29 Palms has SEAL Team 6 lining up for them. Highly unlikely.
All right. What do we have queued up next, guys?
Something from Dave Zink.
Yep. All right. We'll keep going here.
We're trying to get UCAP. I'm excited to see those guys because they're off to they're off to an undefeated start. They beat Sanjit tonight 42-24. So UCAP, I believe, improves to 4-0. So I'm excited to see the T-Birds sometimes.
Dude, Lewis, what was the Vista Marietta score tonight?
They won 30-14 over Los Osos.
Oh, wow.
We just had Rob call from there, and he was just talking about how frustrating it is to watch Vista Marietta because their offense is yes, Rancho Verde Heritage would be the one we want to see first.
Yeah, that was a great game, too. Rancho Verde, number 5 in our power rankings, and Heritage, number 9. So 2 top 10 teams battling out there in Romo land. And here come the Patriots. They call it H-Town, Heritage. They say they got the swag out in H-Town. They do the H. See the cheerleaders doing it, the H. First quarter, though, it's my boy Rico Green still using my head and shoulders. He's got the big puffy hair under there. Touchdown, 7-0 Rancho Verde. Then later in the first quarter, the big fella, Tony Hefo, he punches one in. Ties the game at 7. Later in the opening frame, Green again. Can't stop it. That's touchdown Mustangs, 14-7. Mustangs on top. Later in the second quarter, though, the Patriots going back to Hefo, punching one in, muscling in for 6 more. They add the point after, 14-14. Later in the second, Carlos Hernandez to Demoria Stringfellow. He runs it in from there, 21-14. Rancho Verde on top of this track meet. Later in the second, Chad Virgil to Lamont Morrow. shakes off one tackle, gets to the sideline, and there he goes. That's a touchdown, 21-21. We're all tied up. Then later in the second quarter, just before halftime, this one really hurt Heritage. Devontae Collier runs it in, 28-21, Rancho Verde at the half. To the third quarter, it's Rico Green again, another score. That makes it 35-21. Heritage could not get it going in the second half. Dejon Wise, the big hit there for the Mustangs, and Rancho Verde goes on to win by a final score of 35-21. In this game, it was who can make the most defensive stops, and for the most part, each team drove down the field at will, 6, 7, 8 yards per play, ate a lot of clock, and it was Rancho Verde coming up with just a couple defensive stops, and that was the difference, although it could have been a lot more high scoring, but it was 35-21, Rancho Verde looking very good. And Heritage, they're also very good, but Rancho Verde's got a lot of size up front, and they're just so athletic. They got a lot of weapons in that Mustang stable.
APJ is now with us now, and kind of characterize this win for Rancho Verde.
It's a big win for them. I think Heritage is a growing program. Heritage did have a few starters out on defense, so they were kind of playing shorthanded. So it's a good result for both schools. I think Heritage acquitted itself pretty well. For Rancho Verde, it's I think Rancho Verde, it's probably going to be their last test of the regular season. I don't see them really give them a real test, maybe outside of La Sierra and League. There are teams like Valley View, La Sierra, Arlington, that are good teams that'll probably make the playoffs, but probably still not in that league as Rancho Verde.
They just have so many weapons. It seems like every single play, it's a different guy stepping up.
Yeah, and the one thing, you talk to a lot of coaches out there is how many of their guys pass the eye test. You just go out there and you see guys like DeMaurier, Stringfellow, and some of these guys, and you're just, just wowed by their physical talent out there. So, I kind of wish, hoping in the years ahead that Rancho Verde will step up its schedule a little bit. Though
it's kind of hard with that 8-team league, though. I mean, they're really kind of limited. Right?
Yeah, I mean, they only get three teams, and I think a lot of teams look at Rancho Verde, and it is a scary team to face, given that talent. That a team that is looking potentially for a bowl bid does not want to schedule this team and lose and be considered a bad loss or something. So I think they're in the same situation with teams like Vista Murrieta was early on, and even Norco now. Teams do not want to face those because it's a danger game in terms of potential for a loss there.
So the Rancho Verde goes to 3-0. Heritage, that's their first loss of the season. So where does Heritage go from here? They're still a very good team.
Yeah, I think Heritage is still good, and they're in that. It's going to probably be them and Elsinore in that Sun Belt League battle. So we'll kind of. Look there. I think they're still a very strong team and very physical team. That's one of the things that even at a smaller or newer school, they play very physical.
And speaking of teams bouncing back, we talked about Heritage. What about Norco? Norco in Upland tonight. Upland, I think it was 54-27 the final score. Yeah. Norco losing tonight. So where does Norco go from here after a tough loss like that?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of positives for Norco, and there were a lot of negatives. I mean, they're going to have to look, and a couple of them they can shake off. They gave up a lot of big plays in the passing game. That you can maybe count the fact that they had 3 starters out in the secondary. Both of their safeties and a cornerback. They were basically playing a lot of sophomores back there, their first varsity starts, and Upland. Credit to Coach Salter over there. They took advantage of that, and they knew there. Some of the things they need to clean up are that, they had turned the ball over twice on downs, 4th and 2s that they couldn't pick up, and then they also had 2 fumbles and interception. They got to clean some of those things up. But they also put up 490 yards of offense, so that offense still can get moving. Yeah. They just have to learn how to finish off drives. They had the ball for 11 minutes in the first quarter and got no points out of it.
All right, can I ask you about Yucaipa? I guess the Citrus Belt usually boils down to Rev and Redlands, but Yucaipa goes to 4-0. What do you think about Yucaipa? Are they going to be a contender in the CBL?
I don't know if they're a title contender. They're definitely a playoff contender. I still think Rev's the big time, big dog in that league. And then, but I think Yucaipa is going to challenge Redlands for number 2 in that league. I mean, they have a lot of great, talented players over there, led by their quarterback Clayton Leach-Mead. So.
All right, we're going to have Yucaipa highlights now. We'll throw it to Pep.
Speaking of the T-Birds, EPJ and Lewis, we got some of the highlights taking on San G tonight. First play of the game, that's Clayton Leach-Mead breaking off a 32-yard run here in good field position there. Personal foul, but Yucaipa inside the San G 20. So in the red zone, same drive, 2-yard touchdown run for Austin. I'm going to say Doty on this one. Yucaipa 7-zip on top. Later in the first quarter, it's Leach-Mead again, connects on a 34-yard
TD pass to Brandon Scott. He's going to get in there, and that makes it 14-7 Ukaipa. Then later, Jamie Snowton with an 18-yard run for San G at the end of the first quarter, finally ridden down around the 25 there to the second quarter now. That's the same drive, though. It's a touchdown pass from Minot off field to Kevin Henderson. He was wide open. That makes it 14-14. We got a ball game. Then later, it's a long run by the quarterback, Leach Mead, taking the snap from about his own 45, and he's going to break this one off. Nobody will get him. 21-14. It's Ukaipa back out in front. And then later in the second quarter, it's going to be off field to Charles. And guys, check out this catch here for San G. Off field, buying some time, heaves it up. And it says Charles with the acrobatic catch, stays with it. Nice concentration for the big gain there to move the chains. Same drive here for San G, and they're going to get one in the end zone. Touchdown run by Snowton again. He's going to fight through traffic, ties it up 21-21. Still in the second quarter, just before halftime, it's Leach Mead takes it in for another touchdown. Back and forth shootout tonight, 28-21. The T-Birds up at the break. So now we fast forward to the third quarter, and Snowton's got San G moving the ball once again. Nice downfield blocking on this big gain for San G, and then it's Snowton again, putting them in position for a field goal. Sounds like EPJ that Snowton does a lot of the the bulk of the carrying for San G. Good kick, made it 24-28. San G was down in this one. After this, both teams actually started playing a little defense for 2 series in the second half after such a high-scoring first half. Still in the third quarter, 36-yard run here by Leach Mead to get Ukaipa deep into San G territory. And then now we move to the fourth quarter, the same drive though, and Doty puts Ukaipa up 35-24 with another touchdown. But San G just not going away in this one. Off-field, breaking off. 17 yards here, scrambling. 17 yards the hard way, I guess, for off-field. He makes something out of nothing, and that's a big gain here for San G. So they're not out of it. They're still battling. Off-field, dropping back to pass, trying to get his team on the board, close the gap on Ukaipa, but he's picked off by Ben Swinford. And Ukaipa, the T-Birds, back in business on offense. 2 plays later, it's Leach Mead calling his own number once again. Another nice run through the San G traffic, picks up a huge gain here. And that would lead to this. Leach Mead capping off the drive with a 14-yard touchdown run. Ukaipa goes on to beat San G by a final score of 42-24. So EPJ, after seeing those highlights, are you more of a believer in Ukaipa, or as we said, Rev's the cream of the crop?
Yeah, I think Rev is still the cream of the crop, but I mean, you're going to see how that combination of Clayton Leach Mead and Austin Doty is going to be a handful for a lot of defenses. I mean, we see Leach Mead, a lot of his big plays coming on those quarterback draws. He's a fantastic athlete out there, and they're definitely gonna cause some problems out there. But definitely a fan of Clayton Leach Mead and kind of see what he can do. Yeah, and he can actually throw the ball as well. He's not just a runner, so he's definitely a very strong player. Probably one of the best offensive players in the CBL this year.
Well, it seems like the CBL is going to be an interesting race here. Miller loses big tonight to Etiwanda. Redlands loses. They 3 in a row now. They've lost, but of course it's lose to Summit, lose to Los Osos, lose to La Costa Canyon.
Carlsbad, yeah.
Which is always a good program. So they could finish second. I think Rev's obviously the best.
Yeah,
team.
I think Rev right now is one. I think you'd have to maybe put Ukaipa at 2, and you got Redlands, Miller, kind of in that mix, and that's what it was last year. We had that little 3-way tie between Miller, Rev, and Miller, Ukaipa, and Redlands, and Miller coming in on the short end of the coin flip there. He missed out on the playoffs. So I think you got Rev and you got 3 teams battling for those other 2 playoff spots. All right,
San Jacinto High School taking on the Rajas of Indio here, and there it is. There's the Tigers at Tiger Stadium, the national anthem there, and the cheerleaders and everybody else. It was homecoming tonight, and the Tigers homecoming already here.
Wow.
Yeah, an early homecoming there for the Tigers, and there are the cheerleaders doing some more exciting things there. And we'll get to the action here. All right, first clip of the night. Noah Widgeons, number 33 for San Jacinto, on a 20-yard run for the Tigers, moving the ball up. All right, here we go. Alex Hutt for San Jacinto now, number 38 for the touchdown. Actually, number 28 on the play. All right, now here's the next play is going to be Kevin Clark. Little celebration there. So San Jacinto leading early. Kevin Clark keeps it. The quarterback. Is it Casey Clark, actually?
He goes by Casey.
Kevin, yeah, with the run, puts it down to, what is that, about the 25-yard line, 30-yard run there for Clark. Ooh, and a little extra penalty there. All right, next play we go to Widgeons. Fake handoff. Clark on a 40-yard run, really doing the work for him. But San Jacinto had a lot of problems in this game, and you'll see that here in a minute. I'm sorry, not a minute. In a second here, you'll see that here. Here's Clark back to pass. Turnovers again have bedeviled San Jacinto. Here is an interception, underthrown ball, and an interception for Indio.
Clark's first pick of the year. You know, he had thrown 8 touchdowns this year without throwing a pick. So,
but it's been the problem they've had is turning the ball over, and we talked about this in the Heritage game. And again, another interception here to kill another drive off of a tip. Should have been caught, and then Indio, face mask and another ugly hit there. But here is the final play of our, and then India's going to take it in to the 1-yard line on a 70-yard catch and run before he's brought down there at the 1. Looks like he might have gotten in, but no. I guess they must have scored on that. But then Wiggins with the touchdown. He's a pretty stout-looking running back. So that was San Jacinto. They win that game tonight, and I think it was 27-14 was the final score there. So Indio having some trouble against the San Jacinto Valley schools, but San Jacinto moving to 3-1.
That's 3 straight wins, I believe.
3 straight wins after losing to Heritage. So the Mountain Pass League shaping up between possibly a 2-team race there between San Jacinto and Citrus Hill, which was a big winner. Not a big winner. They had to fight off a very stout Poly team tonight, which I know Dave Zing's very happy about over there. All right, what else do we have as far as highlights, gentlemen? Show the Norco Upland stuff again. Let's just have EPJ kind of look at this and kind of walk us through it and his take of this stuff.
You know, it was one of those games, like I said, right from the start, I think Norco was worried. Like I said, after the first series, Coach Todd Gerhardt basically laid into his offensive line, basically saying, you know, they're beating. They said that your defensive line is beating the snap to our quarterback. Basically, 3 guys.
That's never good.
Yeah, I mean, and that's basically he was getting on them. So there were, you know, that was a big problem. You know, the second half started off with the scoring flurry. We had 4 touchdowns in 52 seconds, including back-to-back 95-yard kickoff returns by Cameron Hemmings, and then here by Marquise Mosley. And then it was 14-14. It looked like it was going to be that close battle like it was last year. And then Norco gets stopped on a 4th and 2 play. And from there, the fortunes just turn. Upland goes and scores a touchdown. Norco fumbles on the next possession. Upland scores. And then Norco has their punter drop a snap on a punt and another touchdown. So 21 points in 3 minutes. And Norco went from being in a tie game to being down by 20.
Just snowballed them just like that.
I mean, and that was the game. And then, you know, I mean, that was the fumble that kind of set up the second score late in the game. And, you know, and you see here, you know, Upland taking advantage of, you know, a young Norco secondary that, you know, had trouble, you know, getting, just kind of staying with Upland's, you know, pretty talented skill players. I mean, Kenny Lawler there, Arizona State bound receiver, Dante Abram, the running back here, very strong.
There's
and then here's
back
the
to
box.
punt you mentioned. Yeah.
And this is all happening in the final 3 minutes of the half. And then so Norco's down by 20 going into half, and it's like, okay, if they can get a stop.
Instead of being a close game,
Yeah, and if they can get a stop to start the second half, you're thinking, okay, maybe they get some momentum. And then Upland comes down and scores in 59 seconds to start the second half. And that was just kind of
just way too good to make that many mistakes, right?
And,
it was what it boils down to.
And if you kind of want to say how, you know, it's the most points, here's an interesting fact. Most points Norco's allowed in a game since they beat Bloomington 64-54. Back in 1999, but to kind of summarize how the day went for Norco is, you know, they scored, their offense went out, final drive, they get a 34-yard touchdown pass with 9 seconds left. Looks like, okay, that's going to be the end of it. They want to squib kick it just to get the game over with. The kicker accidentally pooch kicks it, and it gets returned 80 yards for a touchdown on the final play of the game. You know, that was kind of the night it was for Norco, just nothing going right. So, it's one of those things I think they can bounce back from, but it's kind of when we see Norco when they've lost, it's fumbles, turnovers,
shooting themselves in the
penalties.
foot.
Yeah,
picked a bad night against a very good team. Now.
Yeah,
Make
and like I
mistakes.
said, these little things like 4th and 2, you expect Norco to be able to be physical enough to get it, but Upland came out. I talked to Tim Salter and I said, they beat you last year by being so physical. What did you do this year? And he said he repeatedly showed his team last year's game and says, this is how you have to play to win this game. And they went out there, and Todd Gerhardt said they just, they took it right to us from the start.
I don't think I've ever seen a Norco team get beat as badly, I guess, by a team coming there scoring 54. That's pretty.
Yeah,
rare.
I mean, and you got to, there were a couple short fields. There's 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns, but they. There were, I think I counted back, there were 9 plays of 25 yards or more by Upland. So, and, Upland's going to be one of those dangerous teams. Coach Todd Gerhardt said, for teams in the Big 8 League, Upland may be the most dangerous team out there come playoff time, that they are physical and they also have the skill guys to match with a lot of.
And of course, the unknown there too is Rancho Cucamonga, and they're looming in that as well. Let's get to some scores real quick. Let's go to the scores. And Pep and I will kind of go through this, and we'll have EPJ kind of bounce in here. All right, first one of the night, Centennial Chaparral. Centennial, the game was kind of close early on, 49-14 the final score. Centennial moves to 2-1. Pep?
The old PS, Chris Erkley, Palm Springs, 48-3 over Corona. Palm Springs 4-0, so apparently they're pretty good out there. The Indians. Upland and Norco, as we just mentioned here, 54-27. Upland all over Norco. They made a lot of mistakes to hurt themselves.
John W. North, a big winner over Kaiser, 34-7. And hold that thought for a second, guys. So North, 34-7 win. Cajon, 52-7 win. Any kind of thinking how you think about that one a little bit?
It's kind of always to do comparative scores because you just don't know. This looked like a close game through most until a little bit late. I think it was 21-7 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think North is going to be. They obviously have that great offense, but I don't think you can necessarily say, okay, Cajon's a better team just because they beat Kaiser by a little bit more. It's hard to do comparative scoring because Kaiser, maybe after a couple weeks of some tough losses, is getting a little bit tougher and putting up a little bit stronger fight.
Right.
So.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Riverside Poly, Citrus Hill. Riverside Poly, that gritty, gutty team we saw beat Arlington last week. Citrus Hill, 4-0 now, 23-12 your final there.
And Roosevelt rallying for the 28-20 win over Compton. Compton was leading that game 20 early on, and Compton Roosevelt had to rally for that one. But they got their first win on the season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for Roosevelt. Kind of hearing out at Norco today that there's still debate whether or not Aaron Crone is going to have surgery on his shoulder or not. He might be lost for the season. So they're still debating whether or not he's going to have surgery and be. Will that be the end of the year? But Brandon Rogers has actually stepped in and still moving that offense, and he's got a lot of talented receivers to throw to. And he's been able to put up 28 points and at least 28 points in every game for Roosevelt. So that offense is still very dangerous.
All right, here we go to the next one.
Marietta Mesa, Citrus Valley. I was at that game last night, Thursday night. I saw the Owls Inc. I heard you talking about it. It was wonderful. He buzzed the tower. The whole crowd was like, ooh, ah. So that was the highlight of the game for Citrus Valley because they lost this one. It was actually 34-17, but close enough. Marietta Mesa improving to 3-0. That was Citrus Valley's first loss of the season. You gave him an extra field goal in that one.
Want to get the spread right.
Yeah.
Marietta Valley holding off Temescal Canyon 27-21, and that was a good one for Marietta Valley.
Elsinore, the top-ranked team in the Eastern Division, showed why tonight 26-7 over Temecula Valley.
Sets up a big Elsinore-Marietta Valley game next week.
Yeah, that's going
to be a good physical battle.
And that was the one game in the non-league season that Elsinore was tripped up on. It was a tight one there.
That's right.
Vista Marietta on the road. I think we had it earlier. I think it was a little bit closer. 30-21, the final score there. With Vista Marietta moving to 4-0, ranked number 2 in the Inland Division. But they can play Crespi next week on the road. That's one.
That's a tough one.
Huge.
That's a huge one.
Yeah, if Vista wins that game, that's a huge victory. Number one, they got pretty much handled by Crespi last year, and it's tough to go to Encino and win that game.
Go ahead.
The Rancho Verde, guys. Rancho Verde over Heritage, 35-21. As we mentioned, the Mustangs with just so many weapons in their stable. It was real back and forth. Rancho Verde chalking up huge yards per every play. They'd drive down, eat a lot of clock, and it was just too much for Heritage, 35-21.
Carter with a tight win over Lakeside. Lakeside 0-4, but deceivingly 0-4 because they have been competitive in every game this season. And it's just a shame to see them lose this one. Carter ranked 5th in the Central Division.
Carter, I think, is one of those sleeper teams. You know, you look at their scores; they look like they play some very good defense out there.
It seems like Lakeside, if they can just put it together, they can take care of it.
Yeah, and they have one of the better offensive players in there, and Ryan Bird. He's the number 2 rusher in the inland area at the moment. But like I said, right now Carter's defense is putting up some nice numbers, and I think they could be a kind of a spoiler in the San Andreas League this year.
All right.
Paloma Valley added to Cathedral City's misery. 23 straight losses for Cathedral City. Paloma Valley is a winner. 41-6 the final.
There it is. Paris, big win over Hemet tonight, 36-21, snapping their losing streak to Hemet, which dates back to 2002, and a rare win for them. This is huge for Paris, 3-0, and I watched that game for a half, and Paris clearly was the better team there.
Yeah, I mean, the first time they've gone 3-0, I think I said since 1989. You know, it's one of those. It's good to see Paris going up. You know, let's see next week. You know, they got a big game. You know, see how competitive they can be with Citrus Hill.
Now, the last time they beat him, they went to the playoffs that year in 2002.
2002,
right?
yeah,
Right.
last time at the playoffs. Now, like I said, they're turning their history around now. Not to be like spoil the Paris party, but the last time they went 3-0 was in 1989. Like I said, they did not make the playoffs that year. So. You know, I still think that, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how far they've come. Like I said, next week will be the big test. You know, you look at their schedule and they've beaten some teams that you can say, okay, they were, you know, had shots against. If they can play Citrus Hill competitive, that shows how far they've come.
Yeah, the only thing I tell you about Paris that concerns me is their depth. They have a lot of guys playing 2As, and their linebacker. I have their alleged roster here. Tofi Tuamata.
Yeah.
He plays both ways at linebacker and at center, and he got dinged up a couple times tonight, but he's the
guy you don't. And then of course their receiver, I believe Collier is his name.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his uncle is Danny Harris. So,
right.
I mean, you got to look at, you know, talk about good genes and bloodlines there. You know, from that family. So.
It was a good atmosphere tonight at Paris, and a good win for them. Hemet, I have no idea what they're doing at this point. Eisenhower beating Royal Valley 21-14. Eisenhower improves to 2-1. Could they possibly sneak up in the CBL? And do
I don't see them, you know, finishing above. You know, basically, I think they're playing for 5th in that league.
Okay.
You know, it's basically them versus Fontana staying out of the cellar. I think Miller, Yucaipa, Redlands, and Rev are way ahead.
All right, let's keep going.
Etowanda, we know those guys are pretty good out there. 47-12 over Miller. So that's Miller's first loss of the season. They fall to 3-1 with that loss.
Oh, this guy upset you, Pep.
It was homecoming for the Terriers, for Pete's sake. Homecoming, and they lost.
The kids from San Diego come and take care of them, or Carlsbad, wherever La Casa Canyon is.
Carlsbad, yeah.
28-13 win at Redlands High School. La Casa Canyon 2-2. Redlands 1-3. Should be concerned about the Terriers.
Does Pep need to go home to comfort his wife?
I don't think so, but it was a tough loss. They won in Florida, and they come back to California, and they can't.
I mean, they've lost. They have lost to 3, you know, pretty good teams, but it's still got to be concerning. You know, they would definitely hope to. And I think next week, do they play Rancho Cucamonga? I'm not sure. They have a tough game next week as well.
I think they do.
And I don't think you want to go into league with four losses in a row. That's going to be tough to do.
All right, Dorsey came out to Rev and 14-12, a win for Redlands East Valley. Misspelled there. We'll get that corrected. Does Dorsey? How good is Dorsey?
This should probably been a little bit more convincing victory for Rev. I think Dorsey is, you know, they're a pretty decent team in the LA City section. They're probably a perennial second round team, but they're not on the levels of the Taft, the Crenshaws,
right,
and something like that, and those type of teams. So yeah, this should have been probably a little bit easier game for Rev.
And I think those are the first points Rev has given up this season, right?
And it's going to be interesting. You know, they have been. You know, closely hanging on to the number 1 spot in our HS Game Time.
Will this sway you or the other riders either way?
I think, you know, this week it was 3-2 in terms of who, you know, Redlands or Rev versus Centennial, and you know, this might sway my opinion back to, you know, I had been one to say, okay, Rev had some good victories early, you know, but now I look at it and kind of say you got to look back and still say right now Centennial's only loss is to a top 5 ranked team in the state, and they played them competitively. So it's going to be a close battle. Those top 2 spots top 3 spots, actually. Vista Marietta is in that mix, too. Are
Yeah,
gonna
don't
be
forget about
right
them.
there. And you got to think Rancho Verde is going to rise up with Norco's loss. So.
And Ukaipa 42-31 over San G. The T-Birds improving to 4-0 on the season. And could be a factor in the CBL after Rev as the rest of the league shakes down.
San Jacinto taking care of India tonight, 27-13. Your final score there. India falling to 0-3. San Jacinto moving to 3-1.
La Sierra, Tockwitz, the Goose Egg. La Sierra tossing the shutout 24-zip. Old Tockwitz 0-4 on the season. La Sierra 3-0.
Rough season for the Hemet Unified School District.
Yeah, I mean, and La Sierra, though, could be the team to maybe give Rancho Verde that test in the Inland Valley League. But
La Quinta played a monstrous schedule, and including losing to Mission Viejo last week. They take care of Arlington 15-6. Does Arlington fall out of the polls in the CIF?
Probably. I mean, it's going to be a tough one. I don't know exactly where they are now, but yeah, they're slowly slipping, and that is a deep division.
All right, let's power through these. 29 Palms big winner over Banning 48-0. They go to 3-0. They're very good. They'll play host to Palm Springs next week. Banning in lots of trouble now. Are we on a timer? Next score, please. Are we listening to the show?
Notre Dame, Xavier Prep. Notre Dame and Xavier Prep is from Palm Desert. It says right there, 28-14. Notre Dame wins. The Fighting Zinks out there.
It's a good name for them.
The Fighting Zinks.
And a good prep game because they come in next week and they'll have the Holy Shield game against Aquinas next week.
Now that we've conquered Riverside County, we're going after the Inland Empire.
Nice.
Next the world.
35-14 or 35-34. Rubidoux playing host to View Park tonight in a game that ended up being a shootout. So Rubidoux.
I had heard Rubidoux stopping a 2-point conversion at the very end. View Park Prep, defending LA City Section Small Schools champ.
All right, Pacific being blanked by Sultana 42. Zip your final.
And Ontario Christian and Hoopa Valley playing to a tie, 34-34.
Via Park, Norda Vista. Norda Vista dropping to 1-3 with this loss, 42-14. Tough loss for Novi in that one.
CMI on the road at Southwest, winning 26-12, and CMI going to 3-1. Southwest falls to 1-2.
Rancho Christian, Hamilton, 39-0. Rancho Christian your winner in this one. They're 3-0.
Aquinas takes care of LA Baptist impressively, 49-7. LA Baptist now 1-3. Aquinas falls to 3-1.
Linfield Christian and Parker, another tie. What's ties tonight?
What's up with that?
Yeah.
Stop it! Stop it! Play for the win.
Kind of like one of the interesting teams that we're kind of looking at. It's a small school. Rancho Christian right now is going to be. I kind of looked at their schedule. Tonight was maybe their toughest. They're a freelance school, first-year school. Of course, probably most noted for their coaching staff, including former Super Bowl MVP Terrell Davis and then also Tyree Washington. They're a team that could end up 9-0 and not make the playoffs this year, just based on who gets in. I mean, it's tough they had to put together an 11-man schedule very late in the season. But looking at their schedule, there's some talented people out there, and I think they could go 8-1 or 9-0. So that's a team to maybe watch in the lower divisions in the next couple of years. Especially with that kind of coaching staff.
And in being in the Temecula area too, they could be an emerging power. Of course, with the Christian schools, we've kind of waited for that to develop out here, and it's kind of been hit and miss due to the economy and some other places.
I mean, we've had some of them. I mean, we're never going to have that big Catholic school powerhouse like a modern day Servite, Santa Margarita, but we've seen it in waves. Aquinas, if you go back 70s, Notre Dame obviously was strong, and then it swung to Aquinas, and then Arrowhead Christian had those great teams.
Lots of great teams.
For a lot of years. So, and Linfield Christian put together some strong teams. So Rancho Christian, like I said, the name recognition on that coaching staff could draw a few talented players.
Well, clearly they're having some success because they've beaten some teams that have had some good traditions, and they've beaten some big public schools.
Right.
All right, we're going to take a break here on HS Game Time Live. You are joined by Pep Fernandez, Eric Paul Johnson, David Zink, Adam Drexler, Jeff Perenni, just a whole list of people. Chris Ercles limping around here. We'll be back in a moment with
We are your breaking news leader. News happens. Stay up to date with expanded coverage in the Press Enterprise delivered to your home. Follow the story throughout the day on PE.com. Receive news updates in your inbox or on your mobile device. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS.
All right, guys, we got to be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're going to run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm going to run around in circles, flatten my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up.
To play 60!
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Do you enjoy watching HS Game Time live on Friday nights? If you do, then you'll love HSGT's Roundup. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, myself and Chris Ercole will bring you all the high school sports action, from volleyball to boys water polo, even girls tennis. You name it, we'll have it every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night at hsgametime.pe.com.
What are your thoughts on Amstel and Zinc hosting that thing?
I think they're great. I love how they play off of each other and how they have a good time. So, but it kind of reminds me of the Channel 5 morning news. You know how they, at least a couple of years ago, they used to kind of screw around in there and have some fun. It just makes it fun to watch. You're lighthearted, and then plus you're getting the information you need.
We cover the issues you care about. Here at the Press Enterprise and PE.com, local news matters whether you live along Route 66 or on Main Street. We provide regional analysis and in-depth investigation of issues like education, transportation, the environment, and much more. Important matters are covered here. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS.
We are your breaking news leader. News happens. Stay up to date with expanded coverage in the Press Enterprise delivered to your home. Follow the story throughout the day on PE.com. Receive news updates in your inbox or on your mobile device. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and
bring some of the scores from tonight from week 3 across the inland area. We had some great games, some great matchups we're going to show you, including Upland and Norco. A little bit of surprise there because Upland is so good, but so is Norco. Norco actually getting blown out tonight in this one. Rancho Verde and Heritage, among others, Poly and Citrus Hill. But we start with Upland taking on Norco. Early in this one, Upland would strike first. Nate Ramin hooks up with Marquise Mosley for a 47-yard score, 7-zip Upland. Then after that, it turned into a combination of track and field and football. Off and running, Norco's Cameron Hemmings ran 95 yards on that kickoff return that made it 7-7. And then how about Sugar Shane Mosley? 95 yards on this one. That makes it 14-7. Then this one is Upland returning this kick. Cameron Hemmings on this one. He's going to take this one back. Chris Erickley edited these highlights. And Cameron Hemmings takes this one back. And then it is Colton Gerhardt faking the handoff. The quarterback calling his own number. Takes this one 60 yards to the paint. And that makes it 14-all. Still in the second quarter. More from Upland. The touchdown strike here. Kenny Lawler, he's going to find a wide open Kendall Dukes in the end zone for the score. 21-14, Upland back on top. And that's where things would unravel for Norco. Fumble on the handoff, picked up by Upland, giving them the ball on the 25, and they would capitalize. It's Lawler down to the 1-yard line on the pass to Romine, and they would eventually punch it in. And then it's Upland, running back Dante Abram, finishing business from here. Short yardage, punches it in, 28-14, Upland on top. And then another costly turnover for Norco. The punter, Robert Boggs, has trouble with the snap, and that would set up Upland again in great field position. How about Romine to his favorite, Kenny Lawler? He takes the Lynn Swan, or maybe I would go Calvin Johnson on that one in the end zone. Upland simply too much for Norco tonight. 54-27, your final score. Norco losing to Upland. Rancho Verde taking on Heritage. The Rancho Verde Mustangs taking on the Patriots. They do the H out there in H-Town, if you didn't know. First quarter, Rico Green, he uses my head and shoulders. He's got that puffy hair under that helmet. He scores 7-zip Rancho Verde. Then later in the first, the big fella, Tony Hefo, punches one in, ties the game at 7 for Heritage. Then later in the opening frame, it's Green again. Another touchdown for the Mustangs, and that makes it 14-7. We move to the second quarter, and it's Hefo again. He's a hard dude to bring down. That makes it 14-14 after that score. Later in the second quarter, the Mustangs go to the air. Carlos Hernandez to Demoria Stringfellow. That makes it 21-14, Rancho Verde on top on the touchdown. Still in the second quarter, Chad Virgil, the Patriots quarterback, hooks up with Lamont Morrow on this touchdown strike. The deuce is loose, 21-21. We're all tied up again. Then later in the second quarter, this really hurt Heritage before halftime. Devontae Collier runs in that touchdown. 28-21, Rancho Verde led at the break. To the third quarter, it's Green again. Another touchdown, his third of the night, 35-21. And how about that Rancho Verde defense? DeJohn Wise, the big hit there. Rancho Verde wins 35-21, your final score. Poly taking on Citrus Hill tonight. Citrus Hill undefeated on the season, and Poly coming off a big win against Arlington. So you know the Bears can play. That's a field goal there to give Citrus Hill the early 3-zip lead. Then it's Poly quarterback Steve Ham sacked by Chris Gonzalez from Citrus Hill. And then how about Darnell Murray? He gets into the act. He also sacks the Poly quarterback. To the second quarter, Ham, he's going to break off a 32-yard run here for Poly. He's going to move the chains for the Bears. And then it's Leighton Silva coming up here, gets the call for the Bears, 25 yards. Go ahead, do the math on this run. Can't bring him down. Finally ridden out around the 10. And then it's Ham, the 8-yard touchdown run. Poly led 6-3 at halftime, but Citrus Hill wins 23-12, your final score. Next up, we have Elsinore and Temecula Valley. That's Derek Tarrin. And then the next play, it's Tarrin to Daniel Manning for the score here. The Tigers answer, though, with a lot of Alan Stubbs in this one. He's going to run to the right, big play there, and then he's going to catch a pass to the left, and Stubbs kind of did it all, runs that one up the middle for the score. Stubbs had a big game. And then later, more from Elsinore. The big gain here breaks it loose by Ryan Smith, but the Bears, they turned the ball over on a fumble. They had 4 fumbles on the night. All right, next up, and we'll tell you Elsinore won 26-7. Ukaipa taking on San G. Ukaipa undefeated on the season. Look out for the Thunderbirds. First play of the game, Clayton Leach Mead. He's got 3 names, and he's got a long run there, 32 yards on that one. And then later on that same drive, it's a 2-yard touchdown run for Austin Doty. And Ukaipa goes up 7-zip on San G. Later in the first quarter, it's Leach Mead connecting on a 34-yard pass to Brandon Scott. That's a touchdown. Ukaipa goes up 14-7 on San G. But San G not backing down. Jamie Snowton, their tough running back, 18 yards here on that carry at the end of the first quarter. Same drive now, but in the second quarter, Minot off field. The quarterback airs out the deep ball to Kevin Henderson, all alone, wide open, and that ties the game at 14. And then later, more from the San Gorgonio Department of Offense. No, it's Ukaipa's offense. Quarterback Leach Mead breaking through traffic. He's going to make it 21-14 on that long scoring scamper. And then it's later, more San Gorgonio offense here. We knew it was coming. Off field, he's going to hook up with Charles. Check out this play here. Charles with a great concentration after off-field buys some time, and Charles stays with it, hauls it in, and that's a big gain for San G. Yeah, it was in there, guys. Same drive, it's Jamie Snowton. Another run up the middle, springs loose on the outside, just enough to get inside the pylon, and that ties it up again, 21-21, so San G not going anywhere. Leach Mead, though, for Ukaipa is going to run in another touchdown. He's a great running quarterback. 28-21, Ukaipa leading at the half. Now we go to the second half, and San G still hanging around. Thanks to that Snowton guy. Gets them downfield here. San G with some nice downfield blocking on and throughout the game, especially on that play. Snowton again putting them into position for a field goal. Finally brought down by about the 8-yard line. And the kick would be good, making it 28-24. Ukaipa, though, still on top. So later in the third quarter, Ukaipa going back on offense, and they are back in business. 36 yards here. Leach Mead, saying his name a lot tonight. He's very good. He can throw, and obviously he can run. Fourth quarter, same drive here for Ukaipa. Austin Doty from the goal line punches it in. 35-24, Ukaipa on top. And Minot Offfield doing his best to keep San G in this one. Breaking off 17 yards here the hard way, scrambling all over, eventually picking up a first down. He makes something out of nothing for San G. But right when he thought San G was moving the ball, had a chance to stay in this game, he will be intercepted by Ben Swinford from Ukaipa. So Ukaipa defense stepping up to thwart that San G drive. 2 plays later, Leach Mead. Have you heard of the guy? Kind of been saying his name a lot tonight. Leach Mead, another nice run for Ukaipa, and that would set up a Leach Mead touchdown. Ukaipa goes on to win by final score of 42-24 over San G. So Ukaipa 4-0 on the season. There it is, 42-31, your final score in that one. Ukaipa 4-0. So watch out for the T-Birds. Next up, Murrieta Valley taking on Temescal Canyon tonight. Angel Ortiz down at that game, sending us back the highlights from the Southwest. Here we go. Titans quarterback Mason Mill throwing a pass to Eric Zapata, getting the Titans into Nighthawk territory. And then it's Nighthawk quarterback Andrew Blake handing the ball off for the first score of the game. And then later, the handoff to Dawson Lindemann evens the score here for the Titans. And after failing to make several plays, the Nighthawks settle for a field goal there. That makes it 10-7. And then in the third quarter, quarterback Andrew Blake throwing a long one, airs it out to number 32 for the touchdown. That makes it 17-7. Things start to turn around when running back Lindemann takes it in for a touchdown in the fourth quarter, closes the gap 17-14. A punt. And here, they're going to air this ball out. And it is into the hands of 32, 34, and he's going to run it in for the touchdown. And we can tell you that Murrieta Valley goes on to defeat Temescal Canyon. Got the score right here, 27-21, your final score. All right, next up, I believe we have Indio and San Jacinto after that Murrieta Valley and Temescal Canyon game. Here we go. We're going to check out the cheerleaders for a couple seconds and watch them do their thing. Here's the highlights. And San Jacinto gets it going with Noah Widgeons. 20 yards here on this nice run for San Jacinto. And then later, Alex Hutt. He's going to get the touchdown for San Jacinto. Hauls in this pass and gets into the end zone there. That makes it 7-zip San Jacinto. Then later, it's San Jacinto quarterback Kevin Clark. Where's number 9? He likes to call his own number sometimes. Right up the gut, Kevin Clark. I believe they call him Casey now. Did he change his name? Kind of like Albert Bell, Joey Bell, something like that? He did. So I guess he goes by Casey. But either way, his last name's Clark, so we can always go by that. Later, the fake handoff. Clark going for about 40 yards on this run. Whatever you want to call him, he's a great quarterback who likes to run. But he did have his first interception of the season tonight, according to the wonderful EPJ. Here it is, number 9 for Indio, coming down with this one right around the goal line. That could have been easily a San Jacinto touchdown, but Indio turns them away there. So, and then later, more from the Indio Department of Defense. Clark dropping back to pass, calling out some plays. Hike, there he goes. Clark drops back. The ball's tipped. Can't really blame that one on him, and Indio picks it off. But as we mentioned, San Jacinto, they were victorious tonight. If you've been watching HS Game Time Live, Noah Widgeons, he's going to punch in another touchdown. Oh, it looks like Indio's going on offense. We're going to have another. Oh, Indio's going to go in for a touchdown here. Jose Rivas, if you're an Indio fan, scores this touchdown for the Rajas. But San Jacinto would win tonight. Noah Widgeons taking this one in for another touchdown. San Jacinto goes on to defeat Indio 27-13, your final score. How about North and Kaiser? We all like North after that Alemany win last week. So what would they do to follow up against Kaiser? North's offense looking good so far. Into the first quarter, it was scoreless, but Aaron Peck goes to work in the second quarter, breaks away down the right sideline, 50 yards on that game before he's tripped up at the 2. But then it's Denzel Foster finishing things off. He crosses the goal line. That makes it 7-zip North. Now in the third quarter, North leading 14-zip. Justin Georgie can throw it, but how about the wheels? Check out this guy. Shakes a few defenders and finds pay dirt. 40 yards on his own, 20-zip North. And later in the third, Georgie lets the ball fly to Capistrano. Fly like the birds to Capistrano. His buddy Aaron Beck's on the end of this one. He flew like an owl. How about the owl from Citrus Valley? That was pretty good too, right? North continues their hot start. Final score of 34-7. All right, we're going to do Upland and Norco. The surprise maybe of the night. We knew Norco was good. Upland's obviously good. But surprised by the final score on this one because it kind of got away from Norco. Early on, Nate Romine for Upland to Marcus Mosley. 47 yards, 7-zip, Upland leading. And after that, it would turn into a back-and-forth battle on kickoffs. Norco's Cameron Hemmings running free, 95 yards on the touchdown return. And just like that, Norco ties the game at 7. But as soon as they tied it up, there's Upland again to regain the lead. It's Mosley. He just did it. Take that, rewind it back. 14-7, Upland back on top with the quick strike on the kick return. So time for Norco to return fire. Colton Gerhardt faking the handoff. The family tradition. Long run, just like Toby used to do it. 60 yards. We're all tied up at 14. Still in the second quarter. Back and forth. Touchdowns. We're all over the place in this one. Receiver Kenny Lawler finds a wide open Kendall Dukes in the end zone. Little trickery. 21-14 Upland. And then things would unravel for Norco. Fumble on the handoff. Picked up by Upland on the 25. And the Highlanders would crank it up again. Lawler down to the 1-yard line on the pass from Romine. And they would eventually punch it in. And then later, Upland running back Dante Abram finishing business from short yardage. Get in there. 28-14. Upland leading this one. Norco, another costly turnover on the punt attempt. The botch snapped, and Upland is all over it for prime field position. How about Romine to Kenny Lawler? The great catch here. And Upland, too much for Norco tonight. And the final score, 54-27 Upland. They improved to 4-0. Norco drops to 2-1 on the season after that tough loss. Also tonight in week number 3, a lot of other games that we can bring you the final scores from, and also all those highlights are on our website too, as you can check those out if you'd like. Some other scores tonight though from week 3. I know Rev, they barely beat Dorsey from Los Angeles 14-12. Rev actually gave up their first points of the season, those 12 points. They had 2 back-to-back shutouts to kick off the season. So Rev, the number 1 ranked team, according to the fine folks in our Press Enterprise newsroom. So they're living up to their billing tonight, beating Dorsey from Los Angeles. Hard to say how good Dorsey actually was, but Rev did beat him 14-12, so they are still undefeated. The Wildcats. Also tonight, Centennial Chaparral. We'll have those highlights on our website. Check them out. Centennial wins for back-to-back games now, 49-14. And Palm Springs, Corona coming up just a little bit short in this one, 48-3 your final score. Upland Norco, you just saw it. Upland all over Norco, 54-27. North Kaiser, gotta love North, 34-7 your final score. Riverside Poly and Citrus Hill, the Hill 4-0 now after winning 23-12. Compton and Roosevelt. Roosevelt gets this one 28-20 your final. Marietta Mesa and Citrus Valley from Thursday night. Mesa goes on the road to Redlands and wins 34-17. Marietta Valley, Temescal Canyon, close ball game here. Marietta Valley wins 27-21. Temecula Valley and Elsinore. Elsinore 4-0. They win 26-7. Vista Marietta, Los Osos, a battle here, and Vista wins 30-21. They're 4-0. Rancho Verde and Heritage, a battle of top 10 teams in their HSGT poll, 35-21. The Rancho Verde wins. Lakeside and Carter. Carter doubles up Lakeside, 14-7 your final. Cathedral City, Paloma Valley. Paloma Valley did not do Cathedral City a favor. They win 41-6. Hemet and Paris. Paris 3-0 because they win 36-21 against Hemet. Mammoth taking on Calvary Murrieta. They play some pretty good ball at Mammoth. 28-24 your final in this one. San Jacinto Academy against Cornerstone Christian. A classic rivalry here. 39-8. Cornerstone Christian wins. Eisenhower, Arroyo Valley. Arroyo Valley still winless so far as Ike wins 21-14. Fontana, Apple Valley taking on Granite Hills. Granite Hills with a monster game on offense, 54-10, your final score. Etowanda taking on Miller, 47-12. Etowanda is a very good team. Redlands drops their 3rd straight game. They lose to La Costa Canyon from Carlsbad, so they have more than just Legoland in Carlsbad. They play some pretty good football, too. 28-13, your final score. As we mentioned, Rev holding on against Dorsey, 14-12. So the top-ranked team, according to our guys here at the HSGT poll, they're number 1, and they win 14-12. Yucaipa, look out for the T-Birds. I'm going to keep saying that all season long. Yucaipa, 4-0. They beat San G 42-31. Indio, San Jacinto, a nice win there for San Jacinto, 27-13. They're 3-1 after losing in week 0. La Sierra Tockwitz, the boys from La Sierra, they tossed the shutout, 24-0. Arlington comes up short at La Quinta, 15-6. Patriot and Vista del Lago, a battle for Middle Earth. Patriot wins 14-13 the final. 29 Palms and Banning, and 29 Palms blanks Banning, 48-0. Harupa Hills, Desert Hot Springs. A real slugfest here. 42-34. The final there. Notre Dame, Xavier Prep. Notre Dame goes on the road to Palm Desert, wins 28-14. Rim of the World and Bishop. They play good football in Bishop as well. I know that for a fact. 62-19. Bishop wins that one. Look out for Rubidoux. 35-34. They win again. The boys from Rubidoux. Pacific, Sultana wins 42-0. It's a shutout for them. Ontario Christian, Harupa Valley. It's a tie. What's with ties? You got to play to win, right? It's a tie, regardless. Doesn't matter what I think. It's a tie. Via Park, Norta Vista. Norta Vista loses in this one, 42-14. CMI, California Military Institute. They beat Southwest, 26-12. Rancho Christian, led by Terrell Davis, although he did not play, 39-0 over Hamilton. LA Baptist, Aquinas. Aquinas wins this one 49-7. Aquinas is 3-1. Linfield Christian taking on Parker, and we end with another tie. 2 ties in one night. What are you going to do, right? All right, that'll do it for tonight's HS Game Time Live. Stick around for Will C. Holden and Chris Erickley. We'll have HS Game Time late night with more scores and highlights. But for the rest of the video, check out our website, hsgametime.pe.com. I'm Pep Fernandez.
We are your breaking news leader. News happens. Stay up to date with expanded coverage in the press enterprise delivered to your home. Follow the story throughout the day on PE.com. Receive news updates in your inbox or on your mobile device. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS.
All right, guys, we got to be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're going to run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm going to run around in circles, flat my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up.
To play 60!
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Do you enjoy watching HS Game Time live on Friday nights? If you do, then you'll love HSGT's Roundup. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, myself and Chris Erickley will bring you all the high school sports action from volleyball to boys water polo, even girls tennis. You name it, we'll have it every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night at hsgametime.pe.com.
What are your thoughts on Amistad and Zinc hosting that thing?
I think they're great. I love how they play off of each other and how they have a good time. So, but it kind of reminds me of the Channel 5 morning news. You know how they, at least a couple of years ago, they used to kind of screw around in there and have some fun. It just makes it fun to watch. You're lighthearted, and then plus you're getting the information you need.
We cover the issues you care about. Here at the Press Enterprise and PE.com, local news matters whether you live along Route 66 or on Main Street. We provide regional analysis and in-depth investigation of issues like education, transportation, the environment, and much more. Important matters are covered here. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. It is time for our favorite part of the night, at least mine and Will's. HS Game Time Late Night. We take a 360 look at all of the prep football action here in the Inland Empire, the spot where all the big games, plenty of big games tonight. Some
Indeed.
would work out better than others. The first location, a primetime event, Rancho Verde and Heritage, a clash between two Titans, two teams that have had a hot start to the season, but only one would remain undefeated at the end of the night. If we can see what happened there, it was the Patriots against mighty Rancho Verde. The Patriots exploding past the tape, but they would need to do more than that if they were going to get past the mighty line of Rancho Verde. It would be Rico Green for the touchdown run, getting the first score for Rancho Verde, 7-0. Later in the first, Heritage would answer with Tony Hefo.
Big boy.
Touchdown. Heritage 7-7, still in the first quarter. Green again with the touchdown.
Little guy.
That is 14-7 now, Rancho Verde, his second touchdown of the game. In the second quarter, Hefo evens the game with another score, 14-14, a battle royale between those two. Later in the second, Rancho Verde QB Carlos Hernandez hits DeMorea Stringfellow on the touchdown. 21-14 Mustangs would be the lead.
Carlos.
Patriots would fire back, though. Chad Virgil to Lamont Morrow with the score. He breaks free, 21-21. Rancho Verde would get on the board one more time, though, before halftime, and this one would hurt Heritage. Devontae Collier with the TD. Rancho Verde up 28-21 at the break, a high-scoring affair. In the third, it's Rico Green, his third TD of the game. A lot of frequent flyer miles there in the touchdown area. And the Mustangs' defense would step up big with a huge hit from DeJean, and I don't mean about the mustard, as Rancho Verde wins 35-21. Rancho Verde says they are kings of the castle in the Moreno Valley Hemet area. They are ranked number 1 in the Central Division, and it looks like they will stay exactly in that position. Now time for the Upland and Norco matchup. 0-0 in the second quarter, but Nate Romaine takes care of that as Upland connects for a wide-open Marcus Mosley for the 47-yard touchdown.
This one got ugly in a hurry.
After that, a dream combination for Lewis, a mix of track and field and football as both teams are off to the races. First, it's Norco's Cameron Hemmings running free for the 95-yard TD, 7-7. Then more of the same from Mr. Mosley. We're not sure if he's related to Sugar Shane, but this play would be sweet as sugar as he takes off for a 95-yard touchdown return of his own, 14-7.
So we're basically back-to-back
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now time for Norco to return the fire, and it's their big gun, Colton Gearhart, faking the handoff and continuing the family tradition of big touchdown runs as he goes for 60 yards, 14 all now would be the score. The touchdown fiesta would continue in the second quarter. This time, trickery from Upland as Kenny Lawler finds a wide-open Kendall Dukes in the end zone for the
turning
score.
point of the game, according to Coach Gearhart.
Yes, it was, sir. And it would unravel on the fumble for Norco, giving back primetime field position for Upland, and they would make the most of that. Lawler would go down to the 1-yard line on that pass, and then it would be up to running back Donta Abron finishing business, taking it in there from the 1-yard line, 28-14. Then it would be another costly turnover for Norco as punter Robert Boggs plays hot potato there on the snap. Never a good situation, giving primetime field position to Upland once again. And it's an absolute beauty from Romine to Lawler as he makes the Lynn Swan catch for the prep dog. And the tiptoes into the corner of the end zone. Upland simply too much for Norco to handle tonight.
The most
54.
points.
Ouch.
Most
54.
points that Norco has given up since 1999 in that one.
Not something that you want to do when you're talking about making historical marks. Secondary was definitely struggling, as you could see in that game. Now, time to turn our attention to another big matchup, the Centennial Chaparral matchup.
Speaking of getting ugly in a hurry.
You were there. Break it down for the people.
Well, it didn't necessarily get as ugly in a hurry. I mean, Chaparral hung around in this one, but really it was Centennial's game. And here we're going to see one of our good friends, Crevichet, getting a little bit of his punt return on there. And really, it was a case of a ground game. Both teams kind of got their quarterback run game going, as you see Romello Goodman get going here on the give from Hayden Gavitt, and then get in there for the short touchdown. It does Gavitt. It was one of his 2 rushing touchdowns on the night, and you really saw Gavitt maturing before our eyes here. I mean, he led a win against Mater Dei, comeback win in the second half, did Gavitt, and was good once again. As Matt Logan said, he didn't necessarily have his A game for the entirety of this game, Gavitt, but really kind of grinded it out, as did Chaparral on the ground. Chaparral's approach to this one was kind of to try and get that ground game going, trying to get Matt Marin, the quarterback, on some sneaks and out in some space, because he's kind of struggled passing the ball, and again, struggled passing the ball tonight. I think he had under 60 yards, finished with 2 pretty crucial interceptions. And we see one of the more explosive plays here. It's 88 yards from Gavitt to a guy, Giles Williams, and caught from behind by a linebacker. That you can't be
not good. They're going to be watching tape of that
Yeah.
and having a laugh.
Absolutely. And then Gavitt goes in there for another score, and 14-7 at that point. I mean, it was still a pretty close game, though. I mean, in all honesty, Chaparral did a nice job throughout the first half, but again, it was Gavitt gashing them for several big runs. There's another one of them. I believe that one was a 33-yarder. And then again, Romello, that was it. It was Gavitt, Romello, Goodman. Nobody else touched the ball for Centennial. I mean, it's those two guys kind of going crazy and doing what they do. Here is not what they do. This was one of our buddies. This is Tanner Riederich getting the fumble there and getting a little bit of momentum for Chaparral. And then they start getting a little bit aggressive. They are going deep, and that's one of 2 interceptions there for Isaac Kalunga. This one he almost returns for a touchdown, gets stopped just outside the goal line. I believe it's Romello takes it in from there for the Centennial touchdown. 21-7, starting to get kind of ugly.
I'm guessing you're pretty sold now as Gavitt as being the senior leader of this squad.
I mean, he's a guy that he's not anything outstanding, and I kind of, in my game story, kind of compared him to Matt Marin, who's a guy that's 6'3", looks the part, 225, and here you see him use some of that size and speed to run past a few defenders into the end zone, going and standing up.
But Gavitt's got the heart.
But Gavitt does. I mean, he's a one-cut runner, and he gets upfield quickly, and he's not a terrible passer. I mean, and things got out of hand there in the second half, 49-14, kind of some garbage time for some guys, but and I'm impressed with Gavitt, and I'm impressed with what he's been doing for the Centennial team, even after that tough opening season loss.
If you're Chaparral 0-3 now, what are you thinking?
It's they were in a similar position last year, and they'll remind you of that. First year head coach Ryan Tuchel will. It's a case of, and they're probably going to be on 4. In all honesty, Tesoro next week it's going to be a tough matchup. They'd remind you that they just need to take care of business in the league schedule. And in all honesty, Vista is going to be a tough team in that league. But outside of that, Murrieta Valley is a team that's played pretty well. Chaparral could have its fits in the league this year, especially with some of the kind of kinks that the new coaching staff is trying to work out.
I believe that Vista Chaparral game's at Chaparral. I mean, if they're going to boost their egos a little bit, they've got to win that game. But the way Vista's looking right now, that's going to be a pretty tall order.
Right, and we'll talk to Vista Murrieta quarterback Nick Stevens here in the second segment.
Moving on through the scores, a score I like to see: 48-3, Palm Springs winning 4-0. Another team looking real good. Norco, though, as we said, falling short tonight, allowing 54 points to Upland. Never something that you want to do if you're going to win the game. North, though, a team that we should talk about. Red hot, 3-0 now after that big win that they had last week, 34-7.
Justin Georgie, 343 yards passing.
Mr. Georgie looking good. And the machine known as Citrus Hill continuing to rock and roll.
They had some trouble in this one. We're down 6-3 at the half, came out in the second half, fired up.
Compton, Roosevelt, 28-20. Roosevelt on top.
Aaron Crone, to note, might be injured. Maybe keep an eye on him.
That would be a big injury. Marietta Mesa, Citrus Valley, 34-17.
One last night.
Marietta Valley and Temescal, 27-21.
Yeah, Marietta Valley rolling here the early going.
Elsinore continues to stay hot at the top of the Eastern Division, 26-27.
Temecula Valley shoots themselves in the foot that one. 4 turnovers second half.
And then Vista continuing to rock and roll, 30-21 over Los Osos. Definitely another quality win for them. Then a game we just saw, Rancho Verde and Heritage, all-out shootout, but 35-21 Rancho on top. Carter taking out Lakeside.
Lakeside having their early season
I believe I
struggles.
picked Carter in that one. I'm glad. And another game I know I picked because Cathedral City has been struggling, and they continue. They lost their 23rd game in a row tonight.
Real quick, Logan Tutwiler went down with an injury in the second quarter. Might have to keep an eye on that as well.
Paris and Hemet, another game I got. Paris 3-0. Whoa-wee. 36-21. Mammoth over 28-24 over Calvary Marietta. They can snowboard and play football. San Jacinto Academy falls short to Cornerstone Christian 39-8. Eisenhower
Ike
over Arroyo
gets a big win
Valley.
there.
Ike, big win for them. Then Granite Hills putting up the points on Fontana Apple Valley tonight, 54-10. Etowanda.
Big win.
Yeah, they had two tough losses the last 2 weeks against Norco and Vista, but they win that one against Miller.
They're a team that can put it up there.
They can win. And Redlands, Pep is distraught that Redlands has taken yet another tough loss tonight. They lose to La Costa Canyon.
I believe Redlands went up 13-0 in that game and then got shut out for the rest of the game.
And Rev in a battle royale, but they stick it out, win 14-12, and they are 4-0 right now.
Right.
And Ukaipa, another team, 4-0. They get a win over San G tonight, 42-31.
Ukaipa had only given up 3 points all year, so San G does well to score that many.
San Jacinto continues their hot start there, 3-1 now with a win over Indio. And La Sierra gets their third win, 3-0 now over the struggling Tahquitz.
Johnny Salazar, friend of the show, had 225 yards passing in that one.
La Quinta, a team that has basically played the best, some of the best in the country, gets their first win of the year. And Patriot just squeaks one out against Vista Del Lago, 14-13. Somebody missed an extra point there, and they are not happy. 29 Palms. I think they had the assault team out there against Banning. They put the beat down 48-0. They play Palm Springs next week. That'll be a battle royale. Desert Hot Springs, Harupa Hills, the DHS, the mighty Golden Eagles win 42-34. Notre Dame was down. I got a text that Notre Dame was down 14-0 in the second quarter. They turned down the Jets in the second half. Maybe they got Joe Montana from the University of Notre Dame out there.
Second half Notre Dame. They held Xavier scoreless and to 49
Bishop,
yards.
62-19 over Rim of the World. And Rubidoux. How about Rubidoux in their hot start? They're looking pretty good.
Rubidoux stopped a 2-point conversion to get that win.
Very good. Sultana, 42-0 over Pacific.
I believe that's Pacific's second straight game being shut out.
Was this game actually really a tie?
It was a tie.
34?
One of two ties on the night. Linfield Christian was involved in another.
Don't always have to win. Sometimes we can just shake hands and tie the game too, I guess. 42-14, Villa Park over Norte Vista. Norte Vista struggles continue. Jeez. CMI over Southwest 26-12.
This one has Richard Blackman, 2 touchdown catches, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles.
That's the favorite game of Will's. Rancho Christian, 39 zipper over Hamilton.
Terrell Davis, we'll talk
yes, sir.
to.
We'll talk about him in a minute, and they had a good game tonight. Aquinas, 49-7, another favorite school of Big Willie Styles.
Didn't attempt to pass, did Aquinas in that game, all running.
Whoa, hey, and how about another tie? Tie it up for us here. Parker and Linfield Christian. No one wanted to win that game.
Linfield Christian, Anthony Simone had a pick 6 that helped them get that comeback.
And finally, our last, the last score? That is the last score. We end on a tie, but we aren't going to tie things up here. We are going to toss it out to a commercial break, but when we come back, we speak with the man from Vista, the junior phenom at quarterback. His name, Nick Stevens. He will be on the line breaking us down the game between Los Osos and Vista Marietta tonight. An impressive win for Vista. They continue to look like they are getting better week by week, and Mr. Stevens will break it down for us. Don't go anywhere. You're watching HS Game Time Late Night.
We are your breaking news leader. News happens. Stay up to date with expanded coverage in the press enterprise delivered to your home. Follow the story throughout the day on PE.com. Receive news updates in your inbox or on your mobile device. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS.
All right, guys, we got to be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're going to run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm going to run around in circles, flatten my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up.
To play 60!
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Do you enjoy watching HS Game Time live on Friday nights? If you do, then you'll love HSGT's Roundup. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, myself and Chris Ercole will bring you all the high school sports action from volleyball to boys water polo, even girls tennis. You name it, we'll have it every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night at hsgametime.pe.com.
What are your thoughts on Amistad and Zinc hosting that thing?
I think they're great. I love how they play off of each other and how they have a good time. So, it kind of reminds me of the Channel 5 morning news. You know how they at least a couple of years ago they used to kind of screw around in there and have some fun. It just makes it fun to watch. You're lighthearted, and then plus you're getting the information you need.
We cover the issues you care about. Here at the Press Enterprise and PE.com, local news matters whether you live along Route 66 or on Main Street. We provide regional analysis and in-depth investigation of issues like education, transportation, the environment, and much more. Important matters are covered here. That is how we keep you connected to your community. The Press Enterprise and PE.com. For home delivery, call 1-800-794-NEWS.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to HS Game Time Late Night. It is time for the part of the night where we get one of the stars of the night on the line and they break down their big win. Tonight, we talk to Vista's Nick Stevens, the junior quarterback. They had a huge win tonight against Los Osos, where they improved to 3-0 on the season. Another big win. Nick is on the line. We are going to have him break down the game. Nick, can you hear us?
Yep, can hear you.
Hey, so you guys knew it was going to be a tough task against Los Osos on the road tonight, but it was a close one, 30-21, but you guys really stepped up and got the job done.
Yeah, definitely. We knew coming into the game that it'd be tough, especially since it's away and they scheduled us for homecoming. So we knew we'd have to face that tough crowd, so I feel like we got it done pretty well, though.
And you as a junior, I remember you told us in your first game against Etiwanda you were a little uneasy, but you felt more comfortable last week against Santiago. You had to probably be feeling even better this week, right?
Yeah, definitely felt good. That 2 games of game experience really helped a lot. So even after a tough first drive, felt wanted to get the ball back and make something happen. So yeah, nerves weren't really as much of a factor in this game as they were in the first game. So felt really comfortable out there behind, our pretty studly O-lineman. So yeah, it was all good.
And Nick, Will Holden here from HS Game Time Late Night as well. And you and I had chatted a little bit about your first game of the year against Etiwanda. You threw an interception as well on that first drive. Threw an interception on this first drive of the game that was returned for a 46-yard touchdown. How'd that one feel this time? You said that the first one felt pretty good just to get out there. I can't imagine this one felt quite as good.
Yeah, it didn't feel very good, since first drive, give up points. But I feel like it got better because the next drive we started to move the ball really well. So I think if we had struggles after that, then it wouldn't have felt even close to as it does now. But, setback, comeback, came back and really made an impact.
Right. And Sua Cravens is a guy that's excelling on both sides of the ball for you. Going into the season, did you have any idea that Sua was going to have the kind of year offensively that he was going to have? 108 yards on 9 carries tonight.
I didn't really know exactly if he was going to be playing offense or not that much. But, yeah, he's getting a lot of runs in on offense and really doing what he needs to do, contributing to the offense really well with what he, going both ways. He doesn't really get that many plays on offense, but with what he's given, he does a really good job contributing.
Coach Candell, he ideally he would probably want to just save him for defense, but he's just so dominant on both sides of the ball. It's almost out of necessity that you guys have to give him a couple carries.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be pretty common getting him a couple carries. yeah, I do think that we would have him more on offense, but he's part of our defense, so we really need to save him for defense. But yeah, whenever he gets in, doesn't matter how few it is, he really runs the ball well. So.
And Nick, we're looking at speaking of Studley, looking at a very Studley mugshot of you right now, and just talking about you as an individual. Coley Candell had said you got something like a 5.6 GPA. Is that the case?
Is that even possible?
No, not 5.6. Just 4.3. That's all.
Are Harvard and Yale fighting over you right now?
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I said, are Harvard and Yale fighting over you right now?
No, not really.
Are the Vista Myriad of females fighting over you right now?
Of course not. I'm locked down.
Locked down? Oh.
You already married? Married with kids?
No.
Not quite yet, huh? Talk just a little bit too about Coley. He had talked a little bit in week 2 that the effort necessarily wasn't there for you guys in the season opener. Talk about the efforts the last couple of weeks, and then also talk a little bit about the loaf board. You guys are doing some conditioning after that close week 1 contest against Etiwanda.
First of all, our effort on both sides of the ball has been a lot better these last 2 weeks. Definitely see the O-line moving downfield, making blocks downfield, and a lot less times where we have plays where we slack off and kind of one person not doing their job kind of kills a play. So we haven't really had that many of those these last 2 weeks, so that's good. And after our first game, we had a lot of what we call loafs, is where every time a person on offense or defense doesn't run to the ball or kind of slacks off, that's called a loaf. So we did quite a lot of running the first week, but last week it was down under the 30s, so
right.
It was pretty good.
Coley had said you had something like 45 minutes of conditioning per practice after that first week. Was that the case, or is he just yanking my chain?
We ran a lot, but it was kind of all in one time. We didn't really condition after.
So you ran so much that you can't even remember at this point.
You got hypoxia.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
and just chat a little bit too about that defense. I'm not sure if I believe it's Michael Avanpour. Is that the kid, the backup linebacker that got the touchdown?
Michael Amadovar?
Yeah. I'm not even sure if he realizes it, but I'm not even sure if our producers realize that he's not a starter. But they named him one of our players of the week last week. Was he aware? Was he acting like a big dog on campus?
He was the guy with the punt block against Santiago, right?
Yeah, he scored punt block against, or no, Etiwanda he scored punt block.
Yeah, punt block against Etiwanda.
Yeah. Last week he had a strip and score, he recovered.
Oh yeah. So
2 touchdowns in 2 weeks. That's pretty good for him.
He puffing his chest up a little bit right now.
Is he what?
Is he puffing his chest up a little boastful now after a couple of big weeks like that?
Yeah, definitely. I told him today that he had the same amount of touchdowns as I did coming into the game, so I had to pass.
You guys should keep your fantasy stats. Hey, anyway,
fantasy stats? Yeah.
So as a junior, it was your first reps in varsity. I'm sure Coach Candell said, you guys were going to kind of lean on the running game in the first few games. But what has he said to you about, as you gain your confidence, kind of opening up that passing attack a bit more?
We are putting in new plays daily, pretty much trying to attack defenses in the passing game. But today we had a lot of running, didn't really throw that much, and it's because we kind of really opened it up in our run game. So it was working, didn't really want to change anything if what we were doing was working. We had a really big running game today. I don't think it was necessarily holding back passing for any reason, like due to inexperience or whatever, or uncomfort, but
surely not because of you, right?
Well, I don't know. I think we ran the ball a lot today because it was what was working. So
right.
Yeah.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
And one last thing for you, Nick. Just talk about Chaparral. They're having their struggles right now. 0-3 to start the year. One of your big rivals, obviously. Going into the conference season, getting closer to that conference season. What's the feeling about what's going on with them? I mean, do you kind of like it when Chaparral's strong because it makes the league stronger, makes that rivalry a little bit better?
Yeah, definitely. It's always good playing a rival. Really seeing how the kids of the Valley compare. I know they're struggling, but they struggled last year, came back, and did well in league. So what they're doing now doesn't really matter. It's really what happens in our game. So we have no idea right now how it's going to turn out because obviously we haven't played them yet this year. So, but yeah, we're looking forward to a big rivalry, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a good competition there. So.
Now, I'm going to give you a chance to boast here. Whether we had you guys ranked as the number 2 team in the area, how do you feel about that ranking? Would you put yourself higher, lower, or do you think that 2 spots where you guys belong?
Don't really know. 2 spots good for me. We kind of focused on what we're doing rather than what's happening everywhere else. We just do what we do, then the ranks will take care of themselves. They don't really matter. So yeah, sorry.
No, just so you know, Nick, I'm going to be pushing for Vista to get that number 1 spot. Rev had some issues tonight. They're our number 1 team right now. Maybe should have gotten Dorsey a little bit better. So watch out for Vista maybe taking that top spot, my friend.
I'm sure you guys would enjoy.
Hope so.
I'm sure you guys would enjoy meeting up with Centennial and the CIF again, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Nick, thanks for joining us. It was a pleasure. We wish you guys best of luck the rest of the season with Coach Kendall at the helm. I'm sure luck will not be needed, but plenty of big games for you guys coming up, and best of luck to you and Sua and the rest of the posse over there at Vista Marietta.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
All right, man.
All right, well, that does it for that segment. Another great conversation with another local prep legend, or legend in the making, we might say, for Mr. Stevens. When we come back, it's time for the Will's World Wide Web segment.
Dubbed Biker Zerkley. Thank you very much.
When we get the Twitter, YouTube, Facebook galore, he hits to the World Wide Web and sees what all you guys are talking about, the hot action going on the internet when it comes to talking about prep football here in the great Riverside and San Bernardino counties. So don't go anywhere. We're going to have Terrell Davis as one of those focus points. Yes,
TD.
the guy who won 2 Super Bowls up there in the mile-high city of Denver, where Will is from. So don't go anywhere. You're watching HS Game Time Late Night. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to HS Game Time Late Night. I am Chris Erkley. This is Will C. Holden. And it is time for Will's World Wide Web segment where we look over the Twitter, Facebook, YouTube world, all of that social media, and see what the Inland Empire Prep Football chatter is. And we have a high-profile name on this week's segment, Mr. Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis of Denver Bronco fame, the guy who won 2 Super Bowls when Will was still running around in diapers. Will was a resident of the mile-high city of Denver back then. And Terrell Davis now the coach at Rancho Christian, a team that had a huge win tonight. Maybe he was lining up in the backfield for them based on the amount of points that they put up. But we'll break down Terrell Davis and his tweet game for the people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was they've had a few big wins, and Bezon Hills is a guy who's racked up now. I believe he had 305 yards and 4 total touchdowns, including 1 fumble return for a touchdown. And they've been getting some big wins. And so the last big one they had last week, Terrell Davis was tweeting in the middle of the fourth quarter. There's like he's tweeting at the end of the third quarter, obviously in-game tweeting with like something like he had said like
is that
5 minutes.
$5,000 fine?
Right. In the NFL, it's absolutely at least for a guy like that.
Cinco, yeah.
For a superstar of Terrell Davis's caliber, I'm sure that they would make it even more. So we caught up with Kendrick Jameson, who is the new coach over there, bringing some big names like Tyree Washington, Terrell Davis to the coaching staff, and this is what he had to say about the in-game tweet.
Terrell Davis wants to tweet and share his feelings with everybody out there. He loves our program. I'm excited about it. We're all excited about it, and I know Terrell is too. It's an honor to have him on our staff. If he wants to tweet a little bit while everybody goes celebrate for Christian, I'm fine with that. Can't talk enough about it. Just we in the first-year team, we were hoping to just get one win this year. We now have 2 wins going into our third game against Hamilton tonight. We're really excited about that. We're hoping that we can continue the streak, but more than anything, we're going to continue to build a great program. I really don't know if anybody has a better coaching staff than I have in the nation. Terrell Davis, Ben Colvin, Steve Van Herb, Tyree Washington, Ray Anderson, all these guys are from, they're all professionals at what they do. And I think, like I said, everybody in the Valley learn about our program. We have more and more people come over to check us out every day and see what's going on at our school. It's just building excitement. It's just a wonderful thing. I'm glad to be in this metro area and down here in Southwest Riverside, represent our community, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
Will caught him there on the satellite phone when he was recruiting in Kuwait earlier, pardon us for the interference on the satellite, but the tweet game is strong.
It is strong, and I mean it's a cool story. So hopefully they keep rolling. And in all honesty, they probably will end up with an undefeated season because they don't exactly have the Ohio State's strength of schedule this year.
BCS is not in their favor.
as we take a look at and he's got actually
how many followers for Terrell?
Yeah, he's got a number. I believe he's following me now, so we can add that.
Hey, pop your collar a little bit there, and Papa Giorgio.
There you go. He's in-game tweeting today. To 20-0 at halftime. Yeah,
hey, when you're a 2-time Super Bowl champ,
you can tweet when you want to
tweet. Tweet when you want to tweet.
Also make great barbecue sauce, which is apparently how he's making his money these days.
Yeah, so check out Terrell's barbecue sauce.
Available at King Supers and City Market.
Maybe we can get a little bit of that for the show here. Maybe we can try it on the show.
We might have to grab a little bit of
Terrell, hook us up.
Right, yes. and so as well. Speaking of guys that are strong, have some athletic ability. A guy that we found online, Kyle Vasquez from Murrieta Mesa, is involved in the
parkour.
The urban gymnastics sensation that's sweeping the nation.
Favorite of Will's.
Here's the video we found of them for their student assembly. This is Kyle. They're rounding up the parkour troops. This is actually Kyler right here.
Navy SEALs just submerging out of the water.
And they've got a couple different ones. Some of them are a little cornier than others. I happen to think this was probably the most corny of the earth, water, and fire themes. They're built into the stadium out there at Murrieta Mesa, and this is Chris's favorite.
This is just David Blaine material right here. Whoa, Chris Angel, here we come. Look at that, just magic, mind-blowing, just appearing out of nowhere out of the sand.
And then they go into appearing out of nowhere to doing these acrobatic maneuvers, and Kyler's got the flips down, and he's got this little sideways flip that he's about to show you right here. Chris, you can do it. I saw you do it practicing
Oh.
in the parking lot earlier today.
I do that with my eyes closed, blindfolded, and handcuffed, just to challenge myself.
Right. Just
I would love to see Lewis and Zink try
Right.
that at the same time, but I'm pretty sure if they crash and burn, it would create about a 7.0. So,
and it would probably just drain the PE's health insurance budget with all the doctor's bills after that. But then it gets kind of creative in here. You know, they're getting into the gym, and you see them on the monitors, and everyone. You know, you remember taking you back to high school a little bit here.
It does.
And
flashback.
You know, obviously coming in the same attire where they were in the movie, and showing you a little bit of the moves that they're actually able of pulling off.
The ladies were going wild after seeing something like that.
You can only imagine, and that's something. There's a little under the table move, and then he goes back to one of my faves here to end this clip as we're getting pretty close. See the jumping over the table. I might be able to do that.
I think I could do that.
I could maybe do that. But this is one thing I can't do, Kyler, finishing it up.
Concussion
And we
for
go
Will
back.
out to 4 to 6 weeks if he tried that maneuver, I think.
Absolutely.
Anyways,
So yeah, we caught up with Kyler, and this is what he had to say about kind of how we got into the parkour game.
Me and my friend Weston Votal, we were on YouTube one day and we were looking up just videos of guys flipping, you know, and we saw this guy called the Urban Ninja on YouTube, and we just thought this was like the craziest thing ever, right? So as soon as we saw it, we just went outside and just started doing these flips. And there was a couple of times when like I'll just go in to do a backflip at you, and I just like, I don't know, I just get too over my head or something, and I try to do a double thumb flip, and I didn't hang on to the flip enough, and one time I just went right on my face, hit the ground, it hurt so bad. Me and my friend Daniel Robinson, he's a really good video maker. He said there's a parkour club, and I was like, alright, sweet, I'll join. So we just went around, messed around, make videos and stuff, and we just had fun with it. It really helps me with flexibility. Like when I take a hit, I don't know, I have more balance. I think in like, I just have more balance and flexibility. I think that really helps with football, especially when I'm a running back. I think it really helps in that position.
We are taking the parkour challenge right here.
Parkour.
Will is going hardcore with the parkour. He doesn't want to injure himself before he finishes the show. Yes, I did.
Hardcore parkour is
Yes, I
I
did.
believe.
I was dropping a rhyme right there. Yeah, let's jump into the You Pick 'em. That is our favorite segment of the night, when we like to see just how much we do or don't know about prep football here.
Still don't know how to make the picks before the 5 p.m. deadline.
Will struggles with that. His busy schedule. You know, he's
yes, and still ahead of Zink, despite the fact
he was
that's-
watching a Billingville DVD. All right.
Okay.
Anyways, Nathaniel Stevenson Jr. 22-1, red hot tonight. Whoa, Niller, he is the top guy. John, don't call me Jerry Rice from Riverside, 21-2 in second place. Coach Rock, is that the Rock?
His first name is actually Coach.
W-E?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 21-2 as
So your
well.
own question there, big
Dan
man.
Lyons, the Lion Tamer, Moreno Valley, 20-3, and then Manuel Parra from Fontana, 20-3. A couple Nostradamuses right there. Oh, Nathaniel Stevens's is from West Covina, a good friend of Lewis's. They exchange Christmas cards every year, apparently. 22-1 was Christmas for him in week 3.
Sure, Nathaniel Stevenson Sr. is very proud.
And who was? We had to throw out one game because of a tie. No one wins on that. And how about this HS Game Time staff?
Nobody
the people
ever
who
wins
are
with a
supposed to
tie.
know what they're talking about. Do we know, Lewis, who was the top dog in the HS Game Time staff? Oh, Miriam.
Here we are.
Every week, it's like she just keeps getting red hot and guessing them all.
Yeah.
She must be inside.
So-
Miriam, 70. The overall. This is the overall score scenario. Miriam still in the lead at
The Murph
70.
Dog.
The Murph Dog, 68. EPJ, 68. Parenti,
Boy, look
Mr.
at all those
Parenti,
video guys near
68.
the bottom of
Yeah.
the screen. That is-
Pardon me, but I am right there in the middle of the pack. Okay.
Speaking of back patters here,
67. I'm staying steady, only 3 off the pace. But let me take out a telescope to
I'm
see
2
where
behind
Lewis
you.
will. You're 3 behind me. Apparently. Oh no, 2.
Yes,
Pardon me.
some
Sorry.
fuzzy math going on here
67.
tonight.
I thought I had 68. That was wishful thinking on my part.
Believe
Anyways,
so.
Billy and Lewis 65. 65. Lewis probably went with Banning and Hammett again, and Pep.
Pep is
We're gonna
alarmingly
need to-
behind.
We're going to need to get Pep some football science diet 101 or Inland Empire football for dummies or something.
Yeah. So basically, if you follow the Will Holden strategy and let the computer pick your wins for you, you're right there at 65. You can be proud of that.
I think Pep must have been
Yeah. Zink's at 63 and he's picking his own deals.
respectable. He has been in this area a long time. I would expect a little bit more out of a veteran to this area.
Yeah. It's not exactly the most reliable when you're betting on 15-year-old kids.
Very true.
Yeah. It's not betting,
No
actually.
betting, no money
This is it's a friendly bet, as
Any
you might
money
say.
that is taken,
gentleman's bet.
Miriam 19-4 tonight. That is very respectable
that's
score.
rock
Nothing
solid.
to shake a fist
That's
at. But
rock
any
solid.
money that is awarded out of this comes directly out of Lewis's paycheck. $1.2 million is the
He's a
size of the
seven-figure.
paycheck. So no wonder. I mean, if he throws out $1,000 a week, that's just like taking candy from a baby. It's too easy.
And that's
you know?
not it's not mentioning his perks or his signing bonus either.
Yeah, I mean,
so.
the guy goes out for filet mignon and lobster every week. You know, he
I've
just
seen it.
lives the high life.
Yeah.
And I mean, in Hemet,
Yeah.
I believe
Yeah,
it's the Sizzler in Hemet where the late night eating is past 5:30 p.m.
Right. But I think we're going down a slippery slope here. Maybe we need to get into the players of the week.
Oh yeah,
here.
do we have players of the week? That's our.
We got some
another favorite
spaz that's
segment.
operating
Yeah.
the mouse back there as
No
well.
false alarm. Louis Amstoy says we don't. Just like.
Yeah.
Anyway, players of the night.
Players of the night.
Who are we gonna? I'm gonna throw out Sua Cravens.
Sue. I mean, Sue had a big one, but for me, it's got to be Richard Blackman, the dude from CMI. He's got 2 touchdown catches, 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles. That's never happened
I
before
know
in
him
football.
well. I know him well. I've watched his career very closely.
At
He's
CMI,
a very
huh?
promising talent.
You're a big CMI fan. Well, I mean, there were some big nights for sure. I think Bazon Hill there at Rancho Christian, 305 yards, 4 total touchdowns on the night. It's a big one. There was somebody who actually, Roosevelt kid, I believe gained more yards on the ground tonight. James Bernacki had 232 yards on the ground. That's more than Roosevelt gained in their first 2 games combined.
And how about the entire team of Upland putting 54
Putting a
points
hurting.
up against Norco? That was a big statement.
Most since 1999 against that Norco crew.
That was a big one for them. Oh, yeah. Whoa, Nelly, let's not forget the Palm Springs Indians, Steve Fabian. They had Dane Tiedemann, their quarterback, a senior, and Mr. Nick King. Yes, win 103 for Steve Fabian. They are 4-0 now.
I believe Steve Fabian is the only coach in the Inland Empire that's gotten mentioned on every single one of our broadcasts.
But because they're 4-0 and they beat Corona, I don't know if Shane Trulove was out there, but the
Yeah.
Indian machine was just full throttle, rocking and rolling, Top Gun style. And in case you didn't know, I'm Palm Springs class of 04. That's why I'm acting like such a homer. But someone has to out homer Lewis every once in a while. It seems like an impossible feat,
Right.
but I'm taking the challenge.
Before we go, Justin Georgie, another star,
Oh, yeah.
343 yards.
North
North has to be mentioned, man. They're taking some people by storm right now.
We're probably calling Centennial the number 1 team in the Big 8, but are you taking North as your number 2 or Norco?
Boy, North, they've made a pretty convincing argument so far. Definitely not Norco. I mean,
After tonight. Yeah. Well, hey, they looked very good in their first 2 games. Let's not
the
knock
guy
it.
who was at the game.
Let's not knock their first 2 games. They were both very good wins. Maybe tonight they just had a little bit of a struggle.
Or maybe tonight they fell out of the top 10.
They were like 3rd before it, and then I guess they fall out. But Will does not allow anybody to have a bad night.
Yeah. So
Will
let's wrap this thing up, redheaded.
Anyways, we're gonna wrap her up here, Mr. Baggins. He's got a couple Lord of the Rings to go watch late night, all night. Anyways, not many even know what I'm talking about right now. Lewis is coming in. He's happy. The night is over. It's time for him to head back to the promised land of the greater Hemet area. So for now, this is Will getting his parkour on. Lewis wants to take part in the action as well. Thank you for joining us all night long on HS Game Time Live and HS Game Time Late Night every Friday during football season. We will have the coverage from 9 to 1 here on hsgametime.pe.com. It is going crazy. Lewis is just getting the camera going wild now, and it is time for us here on Late Night to sign off. Things have gotten really out of hand, but make sure there's Dave Zink. He's all laughs all the time, kissing for the fans, and Mr. Drexler getting part of the action as well. Anyways, it's time for us to sign off from HS Game Time Late Night.
Hardcore parkour.
And it is time for us to do a hardcore sign out. We will see you next Friday at 9 p.m. right here on hsgametime.pe.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in week 4.